Back in positive territory once again here this morning, trying to extend gains from yesterday's session. It was a wild one, back and forth, but we did end the day to the upside in a pretty good way. Decent amount of economic data to expect coming through this morning. ADP private payroll is going to be coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll bring that to you live. Part of the benefit of us coming on at 8 o'clock now. Here's how things are looking right now, giving some back at this point, but it's holding on to a decent amount from yesterday. A whole bunch of individual movers to talk about this morning. There's more news on Tesla, more dismal sales numbers coming out of Europe specifically for Tesla. More on that Netflix WBD potential tie-up, what that could mean for streaming overall. We also have Rivian recalls already. That was quick. I mean, a brand new company. Something's obviously to go wrong along the way, I think.
And quite frankly, Brendo, I feel like we get more recalls from Ford and some of the other Stellantis names. Yeah. So, Brendo, does it feel like mid-earnings season to you? Because we have a whole lot of earnings names here to talk about, guys. Marvell, we've got CrowdStrike, we got American Eagle, Okta, MCHP, Macy's, all reporting, even Dollar Tree. A lot of retail there, Brendo. Also, some separate headlines. Nvidia today is going to be a big day where Jensen Huang heads over to the Hill. He's meeting with Republican senators, Brendo, and the topic of discussion is going to be whether or not, they're going to give him the nod to export some of these chips to China. Word on the street is that the Trump administration is pro that. They want reliance on American technology, not so much with some of these hawks. They really want to maintain American dominance.
Yeah, and we've talked about that in the past. I think it's all going to come down to what the overall deal is that is made between the U.S. and China, and how NVIDIA, how these chips can play a part in that. So I think Trump's just holding that in his back pocket for the time being, and we'll pull it out when he actually needs to get that deal potentially done. Yeah, you mentioned this one, MRVL, huge move after the close. We did come back into 102. We're popping back up to 103 right now. Very light trading, very early in the pre-market here. Do you want to recap this? Joseph just walked in. Oh, do you want to recap this AEO agreement? If anyone was not watching the midday.
We can't count. All right, well, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, Brendo, but we're real close. So first thing I saw yesterday when American Eagle reported earnings, the first thing I did was to send my very good friend Joseph Wilson a screenshot of the price action, and he wrote back, "It's over." But the key thing is, Brendo, he's trying to add new rules into this bet. Now he's insisting that it hold $26 when no such rule was created initially. And the beautiful part about being on camera is everything is recorded.
I conveniently did this without allowing him to go grab a microphone to defend himself, but we'll maybe bring him on later to talk about that a little bit more. Guys, happy, what day is today? Tuesday, Wednesday? I don't know.
Yeah, why not? So what's the actual bet then?
I know, we never got into that.
Yeah, I feel like you can't bury the lead. Like I know you know what the bet is. Shreve, what's the actual bet? I don't remember.
It has to touch $26, nothing more than that.
At any time, ever?
At any time, Neil.
What kind of a horrible bet?
You told him it was a horrible bet. You've made that point very clear to him, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a time frame on it, otherwise what's the point? Like,
seems silly to me, but
hey, well, you know what? Good. Joe's just probably feeling really generous.
If Joe wants to make that bet about like pretty much any stock,
yeah,
I'll make that bet.
Pick stock as long as it's not like some kind of horrible penny stock that only goes down. But yeah, AEO, $26. Like, it might not happen today, but you're obviously going to win that bet at some point. Like tomorrow, this afternoon, Friday, Monday, it doesn't, like, whatever it might be. It is seemingly imminent, and I guess you guys picked that because that would be the high from April of 2026. So can it actually get to the top? I'd like to think it's got a lot of room to go to, and there's a lot to get to that's in, as Joe sits down and laughs.
Yeah, April of 2026 hasn't happened yet, but
that's the level, I guess.
It's definitely, it's April of 24. Yeah, right
24,
there.
Yeah. No, $26.
$26, yeah, exactly. So I think that's imminent right now with an all-time high of $38 for AEO. Yeah, it should have been like maybe like a week, like a bet on a week or something like that. But yeah, welcome everybody. You guys know that, I don't know what you guys are betting, but we're betting cash on Marvell, and that has really paid off, man. There goes Marvell up to 107 yesterday in the after hours and just bumping up huge here. And we talked about that it's kind of like, the nervous system of this AI trade, right? And the Silicon and the Celestial AI buy that they made yesterday, or announced yesterday as well, or 2 days ago. I don't know, it was really a funny move because I was sitting here watching the earnings and I was saying to Neil, like, everything is green on this report, yet it was going down. I guess they like that explanation of Celestial going to the upside there, a bigger than expected EPS and revenue side of things, and then a guide which had a nice top end, but also like a decent bottom side as well. So I think the guide wasn't really the situation there. I just think it's Marvell, and there it goes. We had SoftBank interested in them a couple weeks ago, teaming them up with ARM, and you could see right into here. That was that $100 level that we sort of went to and then came right back in. Like, these are real spikes, but it fell back into the 200 period moving average, and there it goes to the upside. So there is, some room for Marvell, and right there, man, it doesn't take long when you're right. Like, it doesn't take long when you're wrong either. You saw them move down in Bitcoin, you've seen them move down in Meta and things like that. But yeah, this name already, like, long in the 70s, low 70s, for it to be 107 right now, it's just a big move. And they're not, the enterprise value is not even that huge yet. Marvell, I still think they're either a buyout candidate or somebody takes a stake in them or something, just like how Nvidia took a $5 billion stake in Intel at $23. So even just Nvidia, like the rich getting richer here, they have $5 billion in this thing, doubled up. They just made $5 billion. Nvidia on this move on Intel on the way up as well. So yeah, it's a good day for the chip space, and as Sharif mentioned there, it's Nvidia day as well, with Jensen dancing around Capitol Hill there, and we'll see what he can wind up convincing everybody of, and probably something. I mean, the guy is one of the best salesmen of all time. So Jensen just really, really working out for Nvidia, holding above that 180. I like that stock. So.
A couple of pops here on a Politico story. Trump administration is considering an order on robotics next year. This coming from Politico. You're going to see Tesla having jumped a couple of bucks here. Serve just jumped, broke out from last week's highs as well. So Serve just got to almost $11. They're up 7% now. Slight bump there on. Tesla's not going to move as much, right? Because it's not as gigantic of a deal as it would be for Serve Robotics. But yeah, we've already got some movers. We're going to have some economic data already starting at 8:15 and then 8:30 as well. We're going to get a little bit more data because we'll get import-export services. Its ADP is going to be at 8:15. But yeah, that Serve Robotics, just to go back to that one, I wanted to show the Tesla spike because I saw people talking about that, and I think it's related to that political story. But Serve, gonna break it. Well, it already broke the 200. So this is one of those names that, hey, what goes up must come down. But it just broke and is now finally making some higher lows and potentially higher highs on this daily chart. Should put it in play. Although volume not huge on that story. Still only a couple 100,000 shares. That's the only thing that would give me a little pause for concern. You just have more volume than that on a stock like Serve.
Yeah, whenever I hear about robotics, this is the name that I'm involved in robotics. And we had got involved in this probably 3-4 years ago, but it's the ARC product, and it's ARKQ, and it's autonomous technology and robotics. So they have 12% are Tesla, 12%, 9% is Teradyne, 8% is Kratos. I'm just asking Gemini all this. Rocket Lab, they have Archer. There's a bunch of different names involved in this ARKQ. So I'm not going to keep reading them because I didn't vet it. I just asked Gemini, but that's something that I like, and it's had a nice little dip down there. And I actually just noticing this right now, right? That was that move up, and we're just hearing about IRBT as well. So iRobot, the name that was getting crushed, that $2. I would have thought this was $4 or $5, but there goes iRobot to the downside. Yeah, we got that breaking news there, my guy. So there it is. Robotics Politico reports that after its AI push, Trump administration, I'm not going to read this, but it's that whole story there, meeting with robotic CEOs, trying to get that going. Look, the one thing about Trump is he's looking forward. And I mean, there's been some calls like that about what to do. We saw that Michael Dell donation yesterday to get those accounts started going for the youth. This is a robotics push right there. We've heard him talk a lot, pre-spat, post-spat with him and Elon Musk as well, building out that sort of AI revolution there, and autonomous driving. There's a story today with Uber as well. Ooh, I like those. Must be new mugs. I like those, or maybe they're not. But thank you.
I'm playing around today,
Randy, for that. Randy, come on, man. You're not branding? We got the Trader TV Live mugs over here.
It's because they're in the dishwasher, that's why.
Oh, they're in the dishwasher.
Although they are clean.
But yeah, I don't think that this is going anywhere, these stories, right? And
No.
we heard that the U.S. government making an investment, obviously, in Intel, MP material, that's where I was going. The rare earth plays. So that's the thing, like this administration is making moves. Setting up that Bitcoin fund and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's great. I mean, we do have a stock market president right now, and you see the stocks at all-time highs right now, pretty much.
More or less.
Yeah, well, I mean, S&P 500 is less than 1% away. So Dow Jones is at all-time highs. And that's the market that he watches for some reason. He always quotes the Dow.
It's like if you're older, then you always quote the Dow. The other one we forgot to mention, RR, Rich Tech Robotics as well. So like they're all kind of moving. This one seems like it's doing a little bit better volume, not a ton, but a little bit better, like almost 800,000 shares and trying to pick up. They're all, these all had gotten a haircut recently is the best way to put it, cut in half. But this one actually stands out. Because look at the 200. I didn't realize. Look at the 200 period moving average on our little accumulation. They have a deal with Nvidia, as pointed out in the chat as well. So this one probably a little bit more appealing, at least for today. Gonna throw this one up on a side chart. Let it settle down. As I said, relatively light volume in my opinion here, because I expect to see millions. Not hundreds of thousands, and Tesla also continuing its rally.
Robots going.
Well, this entire group is going, but I feel like our percentage-wise feels like it might give you the best bang for your buck. And as we said, there's a lot to look at, and it's never a dull moment in these markets. We'll get some data coming through. Tesla continue to make some highs. Yesterday had a huge turn at 436. Let's see if it can chew through that one today, Elon.
Yeah, we're just real quickly here. I just wanted to say, like, these stories, this is part of the reason. I want to make sure that everybody is well aware that we are now, obviously if you're here now, 8 o'clock, but this is the whole point of it, right? So we can get these news stories, we can catch some of these moves going a little bit higher right here, and maybe make plays just a little bit earlier and give you guys just some more time to ask questions and give us some names as well on what to trade, right? Yesterday was that VCIG we had yesterday, and today, what a good story here for some of these robotic names. This iRobot, I called this up, it was $2. Remember, I was like, oh man, $2, what's going on with that? Right there, 220, we just pushed, we didn't push through, but we just pushed up to. We got to 224 there on a little bit of a wick. So there it is, man, 10% immediately on iRobot, let alone the Rich Tech Robotics and everything else that we've been talking about right there. And then Isaac Tesla, for everybody that's a Detroit Lions fan. He'll be having a big game hopefully this week for you guys. But there goes right now Elon Musk and his Tesla rocking on robotics. Hey man, maybe next thing you know, like there'll be these optimists running around the White House. Who knows? The Air Force One. Things like that. This world is just, I'm so excited for our kids, honestly. Like, people take the other side of it, like, what is this world coming to? Like, I would never want to have kids in this environment, but I'm the complete opposite.
It's a silly thing.
I just so look forward to what this technology is going to bring and what that life looks like in 20 years.
But in all phases of life,
the environment's a little bit of a problem.
The human zeitgeist is always moving forward, regardless of tempo or speed. Our lives are better than our parents' lives. And show me a generation where that is not true. It's not going to be.
It might have been something in like the 400s or something.
But there's always some measuring point which you can be like, oh, but this isn't as good. But overall, you can say it's harder for you to own a home. Okay, well that's nice, but you're also going to live longer, and you have more tools at your disposal. And we have like with robotics, our phones, AI. It's just we have so many things that we should be really, really, really blessed in our lives for. Like that's why I believe you should be an optimist. And that's part of the reason why we were just talking about like forward thinking, why the whole doom and gloom of like everything's gonna fall apart. Well, we seem to make sure that humans are pretty ingenious. We tend to solve problems very, very well, and you never really see those solutions till they come. And shout out to all the visionaries that make it happen, whether you like them or not. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty positive, but this robotic story, I mean, when was the last time that the president said, hey, look, we're geared up here, and this is what we're supporting, and it wasn't a good short-term buy? I can't think of one that, I mean, Lithium Americas was a few days. It eventually gave it up, but like it was good for at least a week.
I mean, these stocks are going higher. I mean, all these stocks are going higher. We just got Rosenblatt raised their price target on Marvell to 120. And look, guys, I'm sorry for such deep thoughts here early on in the morning time. We have to have, once we get our coffees, you know, we'll start thinking.
We should have ADP out, but
right there. Okay, we have ADP out. Brendan, you got those?
Oh, there it is.
1,000 guys versus 15,000 on the forecast there. Previous was 42. So that's a pretty ugly red number. Again, negative 32,000 versus 15 to the upside last time. 42 was the expectation. I'll throw that up for you guys, but a little bit of a reaction there to the market.
Yeah, I was just looking myself at that as, you know, that number was so much different than what was expected. But the Nasdaq kind of just holding forward here and not doing much at all. Like, if anything, we get that big bump up on that story that we just brought to you guys. And that was a couple minutes ago. Started to tick up. And then right before the number, we did have a nice little move higher there. I don't think that changes anything. Right now, the main focus is on December the 10th, which is next Wednesday. And we'll get that, what day is it? Day 30 on next Wednesday. So that's when we'll get that quarter rate point cut, I guess, on the overall market, right, on the Fed overnight rate. So that won't be affected right here. I mean, it's not great. I just saw ADP employment number there, plus revised from plus 42,000 to plus 47,000. ADP non-farm payrolls, minus 32 here. I'll just put it up on the screen because oh, it's on the screen already. Perfect. There it is, 32 versus minus 42. So I thought that might have been a negative thing, I guess, for the market, but I don't know if it's enough to move the needle. It's not the jobs number that everyone's looking for, but...
But it just further... We're already at 89% that we're going to get a cut. So
minus 32 versus
you kind of feel like, what, are we going to go from 89 to 91 today because of this? We're already locked in at this particular point with this much time left. I know it's only a week, but usually 90% is about as high as you're going to get with a week to go. So I don't know if this is going to be able to move us even closer to...
Well, I mean, so the number was they were looking at, I have an estimate of 5K, that estimate said 10K, and they got minus 32. So
it's a weaker market.
Yeah, it's not great. It's a weaker jobs market there, and it looks like it is trying to come back in right now as they assess all of this. So I think when you get such a number like 90% now for the rate cut, then, you know, maybe it is time to sort of look past that rate cut because it's going to happen. And we'll see, we'll update that number to see if it gets any better. But with the market coming back down, if anything, that would signal, you know, that maybe we do need that rate cut to come through here. But here comes the job numbers, and they're not great. So a little bit of a pullback here, not really affecting too many major things. I wouldn't imagine like this AI tech trade still gonna bubble on right now. So yeah, not much going on here. But the market's pulling back decently on that. That's funny. That's like, it's strange because the Marvell move didn't happen for like 45 minutes after the report. This move kind of doesn't happen until a couple minutes after it's dropped again. So the market's in such a reactionary form right now. I mean, they're looking for reasons to move around. And outside of earnings season, I know Sharif said it feels like it's a big earnings season day, and it was yesterday, but it gets quiet now moving forward.
We still have
this week I think is half decent.
We still got Salesforce, and we still have C3AI. I kind of joke about them.
I think Salesforce is the big one.
Salesforce is the big one tonight. That's actually left, but maybe there'll be some options plays on some of these earnings names.
Might be
that we can discuss with Joe. Maybe a little American. Oh, I don't know if American Eagle's going to be on there, or maybe that's a sour point. I have no idea.
First things first, Neil. Don't forget that I am 2-0 against the Trader TV Live team, beating Sean and beating Sharif as well too. Listen. Hold on, I'm not finished yet. Hold on. If you don't think that I have a plan in the back of my head, come on now. What is this? You know. No. But in all seriousness, guys, trust me, I have a plan. If I come out victorious, that means I will be 3-0. I don't know what else to say after that, guys, really. All right, let's take a look at some of this options activity from yesterday, guys. At the top of the list this morning, we have Intel. Yes, that's correct. Putting in a nice session yesterday. So what I'm looking at is that $45 strike price. Yesterday, we put in 19,300 contracts with still 40,000 remaining open, and that's going to be on that December 19th expiration cycle. Now, as for APLD Applied Digital, guys, at that $28 strike price, volume relatively light, but what's interesting is the open interest sitting around 13,300, once again at that $28 strike price expiring December 19th. Now, as for MongoDB, putting in a monster session as well too yesterday, guys. Strike price 370, volume 3,300 contracts traded with open interest around 3,500. So, I mean, some relative activity there. Now, as for the call of the day, Apple putting in some new all-time highs there, guys. Volume substantial here, 122,000 contracts traded at that $287.50 strike price. That is going to be expiring this Friday with open interest still sitting around 18,600. And you can see how tight the bid and ask are here. We were looking at the SPY and some other names that you fall around where it's around $13, $14. It's literally a $3 spread right there. So not too bad whatsoever, and you're not going to be paying too much of a premium on that. The at-the-money IV is really cool right now, so 20.4%. So you're not going to be paying an extended premium and implied volatility. And as for the gamma and your delta exposure, relatively light as well too, guys.
And you know what? We'll be looking at some Intel for sure today. That's one that it had to decompress, and I'm going to steal that word from David's super chat, which we'll get to in a quick little second. It had to decompress 2 days ago, and then went ham again on that on the Apple news, presumably on the Apple news. Because what else is driving the stock right now? We already got the investment from the U.S. government. You know, you already had Nvidia do their investment, and then of course now Apple potentially using them to make some chips. So this is going to be on the radar. If it does a continuation, great. But if we do like a dip into prior support, that's one I'm watching today for that 42 level. We got a super chat in here. We throw it up on the board from David. Thank you for the $100. You want to bring back the after show, the 30 minutes after. Keep the early one. It can be for one poor soul a day chatting news after while we decompress. Wait to short Marvell after open when steam runs out. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's a fun way to sign it off, obviously. We appreciate all the feedback, obviously. We made the decision got made that the morning time, specifically this half an hour, to be able to digest the numbers that come out, be able to react to earnings more, go over more names, small cap, large cap, be able to answer more questions and get more prep time was going to be the most valuable to the community. But we appreciate all of the support and all the aftermarket show gets. And I think part of it was yesterday there was some earnings that people were interested in. We are going to do it when there's major earnings, like the big ones. That's the plan, and that's the notion right now.
Yeah, thanks, David. As we look to continue to build this show. So, all right, it's 8:22. We do have Raheem coming through momentarily. He'll be in the building, so we'll see if he continues to blame Uber for his troubles on getting here or not.
Not if that was
Maybe he'll take a Lyft.
Oh, no.
I know, we just heard the door open.
I heard the door, I thought it was him.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was leading to it. I was hoping we would get that, and then boom, he would show up immediately there. But he'll be on time, so no rush there. We'll see what Raheem's talking about. Any idea there, Brendan, today? Are we talking metals with Raheem?
As always, yeah, he wants to touch a little bit on silver, this huge move that silver's had, some of the opportunities in that group. We'll talk a little bit about gold. Speaking of, I just pulled up gold futures here, back to the upside after that ADP number came out again. If you're just joining a little bit late, on the negative side of things, negative 32K versus the forecast of 10,000 on the positive side. It was 45 plus last time. So a bit of a reversal there for gold, back higher. We're shouting distance from all-time highs for gold. We're also shouting distance from a new all-time high for silver again. So yeah, Raheem's going to touch on that coming up. Wanted to mention Macy's here, because there was more earnings from the retail group. Actually, a decent report from Macy's. Downside, though, after they said that the holidays could be a problem here for M today, so a little bit negative.
Yeah, Brendo, this was a good report, but there are silver linings, of course, as a consumer still deals with record high debt and higher prices, quite frankly. Look, it was a beat. The sales expectations for they beat quarterly sales expectations for the third straight quarters. Revenue came in higher, adjusted EPS came in higher than expected. Comparable sales, meaning stores that have been opened up for a year or longer, higher than expected. They did also raise their full year EPS guide as well as raising their full year sales. But as Brendo mentioned, there are silver linings. CEO Tony Spring remains cautious heading into the holiday season due to tight discretionary budgets, he says, and uncertain aspirational customers, Brendo.
Yeah, so not a huge move. What are we, I mean, it could be worse, I guess. 6%-ish downside here, guys, this morning for Macy's.
I mean, you could say it's not a huge move, but given the fact that all the other retail like all the retail and apparel stocks, I guess it's like a retail and apparel apparel's been really the deal. They've been doing so incredibly well this earnings run. Like, to see it down 6% is a bit of a surprise. You just kind of assume at this point they're all going to go up double digits. So that's disappointing. But and it's actually got good volume. It's frustrating because this is one that, hey, when it goes on earnings, you get like a little bit of a squeeze out of it. It still even has that nice short float. Let me double check because I haven't checked since last earnings. I say it, and let's see how actually true that's going to end up being. Only 10%, so it's not quite as big as I would have thought, but still a 10% short float. You probably need to have this one calm down a little bit. Sometimes the perspective needs to be that it's more than a double up from April. Heck, this was about 60% from the last report. I think it went upside. So actually maybe more than that, closer, almost like 70% from their last earnings report. That's a lot. So I guess it needed to be perfect here for Macy's. Much more interested in American Eagle today, obviously, that one being up. And there's no clear like GitLab's down on earnings, but like I see like levels and where you could short this one. This is still very much in an upward trend, even with this little pullback. So you let it settle down. Seems to like to bounce off the 50 period on the daily or in front of it. So that's something to wait for here on Macy's.
Yeah, like 64 store closures in the year, like that is a lot. So I am surprised that there was that many. I don't think that's a great story there. Obviously, we talked about it yesterday. I think it was Brendan and Sharif, I think they had a discussion, or maybe we all did, about how much Black Friday sales are actually done on your phone. You know, like Macy's, what I always associate that with is like a brick and mortar, right? Like going into the mall, you know, Bloomingdale's. We talked about that there yesterday as well in this. But, you know, I still think store traffic is good. But, you know, closing 64 stores, I actually think that that's a move probably in the right direction. I mean, more focus on the online, you know, potentially more focus on your key sort of flagship stores, things like that. I mean, we had an experience here in Canada where we had the Hudson's Bay Company, which was basically our version of Macy's, go completely under and, you know, bankrupt, and to the point where now there's, you know, hundreds of thousands of square foot retail spaces in the biggest malls in Canada that are completely empty now. And so that's not a great story here in Canada either. And then Macy's, just on the year though, has been fantastic. Like, this has just been a great story stock. I mean, obviously if you take this high, it doesn't look as good, $18 back there. That's last Christmas. But forget about the tariff move. But just into here, in January we had to move down. But you could have picked this name up, you know, $13, $14. And sure, you had to go through all this, but then you got up to 23. I actually might look to buy some Macy's. I'm going to review that number again and what these posts look like. But that would just be to diversify, because when you get names like Tesla doing stuff like this today again, some of these tech names doing what they're doing, you don't really need to sit in a Macy's and wait for it. I'm not even sure what, they used to be a big dividend. I'm not even sure what the dividend is anymore. Maybe I should double check that here. Let's just do it live, because that would have been the one thing that you would have held this for. And I thought maybe they even cut the dividend pretty significantly. That could be wrong. I'm just trying to dividend yield 3%. So there it is. It says industry average 6%, but there's a dividend yield of 3% there. But it's these PEs that are pretty low, right? Retail 12 coming through there for those PEs. It's not fair to compare. I don't know what these peers are all about. Alibaba is a peer? I don't think so. But right into there, PDD Melly. What is going on here? Am I on the right stock? But yeah, that Macy's number is a pretty interesting one there, as we'll look to see some of their valuations. And again, look at this market cap. right? Is this Macy's? Yeah. This is only a $6 billion company. It doesn't seem like it's huge right now. So I don't know, man. I would watch to see what the action in this stock is. It could go down SSR. This could go down double digits today. Anyways, yeah, I think with those, I just saw someone in the chat that's a pretty good point there, Christmas 1023 there, saying that these 2K checks will also help retail, and they will, right? And so if everybody's getting a $2,000 check, then, you know, the biggest beneficiary of that, DraftKings right there, because what's $2,000 when you can parlay it into $200,000, right? And get that little, 100-to-1 parlay going on there. And then DraftKings goes, yeah, that'd be great. So the biggest beneficiaries of those $2,000 checks are DraftKings and Robinhood, I would think, or Webull, or somebody that gets a gambling fever going through there. I really like Polymarket.
Well, I think Hood gets you everything.
Yes, that's the thing. It's a all-for-one shop there.
All in one.
With Robinhood. But DraftKings has been a real epic move higher. And that, I remember the day that they reported and, came into that $25, $24 area. That was bad because you were probably long holding against some of these April lows, which we talked about that. Any stock that is apparently near its tariff tantrum low has bounced nicely off of there. And so let's just go, I need a check mark. But it's DraftKings that has also bounced off of those tariff lows as well. Actually came back into August of 24 levels there. Nice move higher. All right, he is in the building. Uber has dropped him off successfully. You can see, hey, this is awesome. This is awesome because now we get to see these guys.
I saw him the whole time. When you were talking, I'm like, yeah, he's right on your shoulder.
I heard Brendan talking to him as well. It's always great to see you, Raheem, there. And I saw on Instagram and everything, you had some nice travels. Family looked great. Great times there.
Tough life.
Celebrating it. Yeah, really tough life. But he is now back here right now. It's Raheem Alani and Brendan. Let's go see what they're talking about.
Yeah, he's the hardest working guy I know. Raheem has joined to, as we said, touch a little bit on some of these metals and the moves that we've seen specifically in silver of late, but gold on its way back higher right now as well.
Yeah.
First, before we get into this,
I was gonna say, first of all, audience, are you not impressed? Like, holy jeez. Brendan and I whispering to each other is like a loud, I gotta talk all the way over there just to get Brendo's attention.
A little bit of an improvement.
This is fantastic, and hopefully the fan experience, audience experience is better. I'm floored by how I've seen the construction. I've been through all the iterations of it, and this is phenomenal.
It was only 10 months in the making, but
overnight,
we're not even done yet. So I mean, there's more to come. But yeah, we're probably 95% of the way there still.
A little, but not too much.
Like a mining stock that triples overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just happened. Not the 6 years previous that took it.
Takes time.
A 6-year overnight success is what we call it. Yeah, 6-year overnight success. Yeah. So congratulations on all that you guys did overnight.
Thank you. We're getting there. We're getting there slowly. That's silver. If anyone hasn't looked at a higher time frame chart of silver of late, as I mentioned earlier this morning, we're cents away from all-time highs here on the futures specifically.
Yeah.
Gold a little bit further. It's 2.5% or 2+% for gold to get back to that all-time high. But I mean, what an incredible run for both of these.
Yeah, I think you and I have been here over there and over there. We've chatted about silver and gold multiple times, and record high, and it just keeps happening. And it's happened over and over and over. And we're going into these markets where political instability requires some type of off-put, offset, and gold and silver have always been a safe haven.
Yeah.
Gold specifically.
Yeah.
And silver's kind of been like the little brother that's always kind of there in the corner.
Yeah.
And all-time highs now.
Yeah.
Right? You're up almost 100% on silver in a 1-year period.
We went through this time period where, and we even saw it this morning with this ADP private payrolls number, economic data that came out negative would always react positively for gold and silver and those types of instruments. And then we went through this long period where they did not care. And there was just absolutely no reaction whatsoever.
There's this crypto thing that got in the way.
Details. But now we're back to that environment again. It seems like whenever there's a downtick in employment or a downtick in GDP, CPI even, if it's negative, we see gold, we see all the safe havens start to pop in.
Yeah, because there are people that are buying physical gold, but it's central banks that are putting that money to use. They are going out and storing gold and in some cases storing silver. So we do see that uptick, again, around weaker economic data. Again, there was this little downturn in crypto this week. Yeah. And that's when we saw silver hit its all-time high. So there is that kind of a little bit of that correlation there as well.
I love a little downtick is 35% in Bitcoin. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, so silver's up 100%. Yeah, so
yeah. What are we talking about?
Depends on who you're talking to.
All right, let's find some opportunities here potentially. You brought a list of a few individual names. I mean, again, we're discussing this obviously in a little bit of hindsight. Moves already happened. We're at all-time highs, as we said, for silver. But I say that very, very significantly. The PE I saw on some of these names that you threw at me still tiny compared to where some of the tech names are.
Yeah, no, the PE on mining is generally going to be smaller because there's three types of mining companies, really. You've got your producers, and we'll talk about a couple of those, who will trade in a band relative to where the price of silver is going. So if silver goes up 30%, that particular company's probably going to track up between 25 and 45% because it smacks right on. If you look at the chart of Barrick Gold as an example against gold, you'll see a very direct correlation. Then you've got the mid-tier guys who have a bunch of exploration as well as their production. So they make a little bit of money on the production. So your P number is going to be not even close to what a tech company is going to be. But you have so much on, we call it measured, inferred, indicated. Those numbers, you'll quantify yourself against those metrics of what the resource is in the ground. Then you've got the junior guys who are nowhere near production. And in markets like this is where you'll start to see some of that M&A activity that happens in a robust mining environment. 10, 15 years ago, you would see premiums of 60, 80, 100%, 200% on some of these juniors. The last little bit of deal cycle has been 12, 18, 24% premiums. Yeah. I think as companies are now seeing just my revenue just went up 40% based on nothing that I've done other than the fact that commodities have been ripping, you're making more money. Right. And now you're going to take that money or your stock price is up 600%, 700%, whatever it is, use that currency to go out and buy other companies. So I think you'll see a lot of M&A happening. And
why do we bring this up? And the answer to that is specifically overall, macro conditions are not changing. The higher, view of the market is not changing going into next year, going into the second, half of this month, even as we head towards the end of the year, which leaves room, I think, still for some of these names that you brought today potentially to going into the beginning of next year.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that are in a larger scale production will correlate, I think, slightly tighter to the price of silver. Yeah. The ones that are the junior names have the higher proximity plays to being potential M&A targets on either side. It's at this point as well.
Okay, let's go with a few names here. HL, the first one. This one's on the NYSE Hecla Mining, going to open here at new highs.
Yeah, going to open at new highs, up 100% in the last 3 months. They've traded as low as $4.50 and gone up to $17.50. Probably, like you said, it's going to open at an all-time high here. So they're in the right place, right time. They obviously have projects in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're in Asia, but US is where they have a couple of projects. And if you've got a mining project that's in production, you're in the US, you're in Nevada, and a couple of the belts that are prolific in Nevada, they just got the US Forestry Service to give them we don't have any comment about what you're doing over there. So the governments are being a lot more conducive. Silver has
don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, listen, we're the USFS. We just have to tick this box, and you can go right ahead and do what you're doing at one of their projects in Nevada. So that just got announced, I think it's just a couple of days ago. So the stock price has continued to move up because they will be allowed to do more production mining in the States.
All right, let's go to FVI here. This one north of the border on the TSX, Fortuna Mining.
Yeah, Fortuna, interesting, again, just in terms of a geography side. They do have assets in Peru, in Mexico, but bigger into West Africa, in Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire in particular. And they have gotten additional permits. They have started doing some more drilling in Senegal and on their Cote d'Ivoire project. They announced free cash flow of $73 million, excuse me, up 25% quarter over quarter. So not just because of the price increase. So you can expect Q4 should have some robust numbers because of the fact that you're just generating more dollars based on the fact silver price has gone up.
In a bit of a pullback currently, but still looking great. I mean, we've talked about this aspect from the AI standpoint. I mean, there was a day when it mattered with cannabis as well. if you just put it right in the name of the company, it's never a bad thing. And that's this one, SVM is.
Yeah, we have a new company that's going public. It's AI Critical Minerals Corp Cannabis.
just roll them all together.
All of it.
So SVM back to highs here as well. Looks like it might actually open at all-time highs.
Yeah, a few months ago, it was sitting at $6, 52-week low of $4, and sitting here at a 52-week high of just over $11. This one was interesting, depending on your take on China. So we threw this one in the list because it's a pure play Chinese company. They are producing silver. So if you think China's going to go well on the critical minerals side and on production of silver, then this is a play to look at because it is uniquely pure play China listed here in Canada.
And yeah, as you were saying, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, heck, let's call it 8 days in a row straight to the upside here for this one.
And they're making money. They're, $22 million net income on the last quarter, generating cash, and just depends on your take on China.
And if you want to go to the smaller end of the price point and smaller end of the market cap scale, there's opportunity there as well. BlackRock Silver Corporation is a venture name here, TSX Venture stock, so about 83 cents, but BRC.
Yeah, as low as 27 cents on the year, got up to $1. A name that you said, it's listed here in Canada. Geography-wise, it's a pure American play, very heavy into Nevada. Nevada is known as, again, a silver region. So you're looking at a company that's heavy in the U.S., just off its 52-week highs here, about 15% off its 52-week highs, but overall up 400% on the year. And I remember you guys actually had the CEO in here for an interview, so kudos to you guys, and hopefully people, when they saw him on here, came on and picked some up back then. And
I mean, naturally.
Yeah, you're right? A broken clock's right twice a day. And you guys had him in here, and he was here talking about silver in Nevada, and hopefully people listened, and now you can tell people, see, I told you.
When we look at maybe going forward here a little bit, going into the first quarter of next year, as I was saying, there's the primaries to come. The middle of the year next year could be a bit of a turning point as far as the political situation is concerned. Prior to that, what's going to stop this?
Well, I think we also don't, just from a humanity point of view, don't want gold hitting $6,000. Because if gold's at $6,000, we have larger problems in the world than just what's happening in the economy. Because if everyone is running to a safe haven like gold at that kind of acceleration, that torque, I think there's larger problems in the world. So we kind of don't want it to go to have that much of an acceleration. But right now, I mean, right now it's an arms race. Like I was, as the guy said, I was recently in Europe and I had a meeting there with a critical minerals fund. And he made the point that we are all kind of making here in that what's happening geopolitically has spurred countries to do what they've maybe not been as comfortable or reticent to do. Canada, as we all know, here is putting projects into fast mode production, fast tracks, whatever you want to call it. France, this fund works with the French government, and they are making investments in critical minerals. Yeah. And pan-Europe, because everyone doesn't know what's going to happen in the US. So now all these countries have had to sort of get a kick in the pants to say, start doing stuff. So Canada, parts of Europe, all these countries are now accelerating all the things that are going to be invested into the critical minerals space. So the more minerals that get added to the critical minerals list, the more people that can get this cash, whether it's from governments, agencies, equity markets, obviously, get these projects going. There's going to be a lot more activity because the price is just there. Your revenue is going to go up 30, 40% on a quarter-to-quarter basis simply by just being there. Right.
More opportunities potentially to come going into next year, as we said. Should be really, really interesting to keep an eye on these. I mean, hundreds of percent moves on just a handful of names that we talked about here. But great stuff, as always. Rahim Alani's Managing Director of OCI Groups here in Toronto. Good to see you.
Likewise.
As always, thank you, Rahim. And I love that. Come back to us. We still got the boys in the back. And just to the point of gold, man, like that run. If you just pull a really higher time frame chart up for gold, and this is a 3-month chart, like 6,000 would be intense, because if you go from the actual financial crisis low, like it was maybe 800 to 180, or maybe close to 2,000, but like 18. So it was like 2.25 was the move. So when we broke out and we've gone parabolic since the 2000 break. Like you've already made the equivalent. Just this breakout is the equivalent right now, or to the highs, of the financial crisis lows to that peak, like the peak after, that's how crazy this rally has already been, right? So it's, to find that it's maybe running out of steam is not the right word because we're trying to get back to some of those highs, but slowing down a little bit, and we just had to pull back to get the highs. I would think in silver for now is been a crazy breakout. Like this is one thing where it's probably more of a trade than anything else, but you're starting to get a little bit nuts. And I think for today, I mean, kind of like yesterday, only I didn't really think yesterday, like for me, silver, I wanted it to start holding that prior close level. It didn't until the afternoon. I think just a little more patience with it. If we end up ever trending down in it, allow it to travel into the level and do a reversion. Like this is, I'm not going to treat this as support or resistance. Like this is one where let it pull back in and show me some kind of a mean reversion. Then when you get like that, which is a mean reversion, that trend break, go for it. It's just trading the trend right now with silver, because it's been such a fantastic move that you never want to get you don't want to get trapped in any kind of a pullback. And when gold did it's to show you on the daily, like when GLD did its pullback, like you did have a pretty decent decline off the highs, which they're trying to get back to now. But silver has to be on the radar for a trade.
Yeah, I mean, great couple names there from Raheem, and I mean, already in the chat there, David talking about Nevada and all these places. So, you gotta pay attention if you're into the metals game there when Raheem talks. I mean, a couple great names there. We talked about Barrick as well, B coming through. That's to me, just eight. First of all, AEM is the best name here, Agnico. That has just been really a super strong gold producer over the last couple years anyways, Agnico Mines. I mean, look at this name just continue to climb higher there as it looks like it wants to even break through. If we can get through this 175, touching into 190, but this has been an absolute, this is February of 24, $46, 170 right now. I mean, you just showed the monthly chart on gold. It's about diversification. I was saying to Sharif, like I own probably 30. I was looking last night as my kid was at swimming. Okay, I didn't even see so I got up yesterday morning, obviously didn't see the wife because she brought the kid to hockey at 6 o'clock or whatever in the morning. And then I didn't see her till 9 o'clock at night because she had volleyball again. And then I had my other kid at swimming, and I was looking at over all of the holdings that I have. And I realized the only gold name that I have is GLD. So I need to get involved a little bit into some of these mining names. So I think I will refresh and rewind that segment there with Raheem and figure out if there's something that fits with the portfolio. But yeah, GLD. And I only got into this, I got into it small back like 240, 250 area on this break rate into here, this move right there. So 256 is that first spot that we got into about a year ago, as I was like, okay, I need to get some kind of gold off that huge run. And then just recently bought it at 375 on this dip right into there. So this is my bigger portion. Like my average price is like 320 or something. So it's not like I'm a savant here with picking these prices. It's just waiting for gold to dip, I think will be a buy for me moving forward just to get bigger in the portfolio. It's like less than like 0.5% right now. So I think there's some value in holding gold for sure. But all right, let's go. Now we have time. I think I never know if it's upgrades or downgrades, whatever. They just say, get ready, throw to Joe. So I'm going to throw it to Joe right now.
Maybe AEO got it.
Yeah, well, that's true. We already had the options move. So we're going to go with upgrades and downgrades right now with Joey Upgrade.
Yes, it's great. It's crazy. All right, guys. Yeah, let's start this off with American Eagle Outfitters. Price target to $25, not quite $26 by Telsey Advisory Group, but you're up 12 3/4 this morning, guys. And then as for Marvell, another big move as well, up 10.5% roughly. Price target being raised to $100 by TD Cowen. And then CrowdStrike also getting the nod as well too, guys, this morning, $555. You're up 1 1/3 roughly. BMO Capital Markets giving them that nod. Now, as for Signet Jewelers, guys, Telsey Advisory once again giving us a price target raise to $96. Now, as for some of the downgrades, guys, we got OKTA, Okta, down 5 1/10% here. Price target lowered from $113 to $90 by BMO Capital Markets. And then Wendy's negative on the session as well too, guys. Price target lowered to $9 by JP Morgan. Neil was talking about this earlier in the pre-market. GitLab, you're down 10.5% here, guys. Price target being lowered to $50 by Needham and Company. And Wayfair as well too, down 3.36% by Jefferies Financial. Price target $96, guys.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I don't think there were too many surprises.
I thought he was going to hold AEO off of that list, but he did not.
You can't.
So, right there,
You
really
can't
got
do
Sharif going on.
Okay, first of all, the price target, there's only one price target that matters on AEO, and it's not 25. It's $26, and we all know it, and look, it'll get there. No, you can just see Arman there, and
Oh my God, I thought someone fell down there.
no, that was, look, I heard a noise, I turned around, and then of course
It is Randy, did
It's
fall
Randy.
down. There's Randy. It is Randy. Oh my God, what is Randy doing down there?
That's just, okay. All right, well, I lost my train of thought there because Randy's on the ground and doing like some Mission Impossible, whatever.
If my chair all of a sudden collapses or something, or something happens,
What's going on?
are we're trying to get good TV over here, I guess. All right, good. I thought when we looked back there, oh, Randy's practicing the worm. You know, that was a good point there in the chat.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. It's funny, like we're so professional around here. We just have dudes lying around on the ground, but that's a lot of fun to Randy. But you were going to talk about GitLab there.
Oh,
that was a move that I had sort of signaled that if we break lower, it's a problem. So it's a good daily chart there on the breakdown.
Well, I mean, it's a good daily chart for the shorts, right? For the breakdown, obviously. It's just not. I don't know what good to say about them. I think we actually had a few people in the chat last night that were sort of talking about their clientele being a plus for them, some of the big boys. But ultimately, ball doesn't lie, right? Like, can it hold the low? Absolutely, because you haven't actually gone through, we haven't tagged underneath those April lows yet. Like, that's still $1 away. So there is a chance. Like, you can absolutely be holding that 38 level and going higher, but it was a flat bottom break at 40, which just says to me, if we're gonna trade this today, like I'm just looking at that 40 level. It's that simple. I want to play anything that fails underneath the $40 level, and if it's breaking away from there, then congratulations to anybody that bought the dip on GitLab. But I'm gut telling me to try to short this under 40 until it gets to that April low, and then you can make another play after that. So yeah, downgraded GitLab. No surprises really. I mean, CrowdStrike is down, and they were on the upgrade side, but they had a pretty good report. It's just cybersecurity names are all expensive, so they tend to trade down after earnings. It just doesn't matter how good the report is for those guys.
Yeah, no, I really like. I mean, I thought Palo Alto, again, another name that I was looking at last night that I want to get a little deeper in was Palo Alto. I mean, I always think that these guys are best in class, best of breed there for PanW. I could be. Again, that big move didn't happen down. That this is going to be something that I should be picking up here at the 200 period. I have to, practice as I preach. I mean, I said that whenever there's good companies in and around that 200 period moving average, we should be at least dipping our toes in. And I don't mean I'm like my toes are already, like my foot is already in, so it's fine. It's just like getting a little bit more once we get above this and we can start to maybe break through some of this garbage down there, sub 195. So I think a 195 break on Palo Alto, I'll buy a little bit more. I mean, that's the thing. There's like averaging up, into positions. I think as long as you like the stock. I mean, another example was Meta, where you could be averaging into a position here. I'd hope that most people were long a little bit lower than where we are now. So when you get a huge move like this down to the downside, there is a point where you say, okay, like, even if I have $10,000 worth, do you buy 1,000 here, and then maybe you wait a week or two, buy like another 1,000? Like, so you're not like rolling everything all into these names, because if you did that here, then you're probably like, oh my God, you might be out of powder or something by the time it gets to 6 bills, which was probably the level that you were waiting for in the first place. So don't get too excited. Just like in trading, like I'm trying not to take any positions in the first 10 minutes or so of any real value. I think the same thing is true for most of these names. Get a name in the right space that you like, do a little bit of research on it. That's why all these large language models are actually pretty great. They do a lot of the research for you if you ask the right questions. So I think that Meta is one of those names, as is Palo Alto, and just even a CrowdStrike, any of them, really. If you do your research, pick one of the top 2 or 3 in the sector, and I think you'll be fine. You don't need to hold all of them, and there's ETFs for that, but then, of course, you're paying a management fee for that.
Yeah, like that's the hack ETF is the one that I think people usually go to. But the issue with that is it's so very diversified, and you only end up holding, I think with hack, it's like less than 10% in crowd. I'd have to double check, but it's not nearly as concentrated into like CrowdStrike and Palo Alto and like the Zscalers that you would expect. You end up only getting like a sliver of those, and then you got all the other names that are going to be thrown in there. I was just trying to find if there was a reason for this. Like a little bit of a spike happened in AMD, but man, maybe it's just random. I have no idea because nothing came across the wire. But there was a nice dollar. It was a clean dollar move up there on AMD on one spike. Maybe someone just got a little bit exuberant here buying it. But yeah, no headline that I was able to see in reaction to that. Just a reminder to everybody, some people are trickling in and asking, hey, what's going on with RR? Or what's going on with iRobot? Or what's going on with Tesla? And it was the administration looking to make a push into robotics. And so yeah, all these names, RR is now up 15%. I'm sure iRobot is continuing to go as well. Tesla's trading. Actually pulled back a little bit, but Tesla was close to 436, and it's up 1%. iRobot's up 15% here. So that headline came in pretty early. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it came on before we would have normally been on. That's why we're here, a little bit early, so we have lots of time to get through everything that we're watching. Although the futures, still no real reaction to that ADP number. Yeah, so it's about individual stocks, right? Like the market didn't do much except for, kind of shake around yesterday. It was all the individual names that gave you the real juice, and I think today will be more of the same.
Oh, we're doing future? All right, guys, 68.40. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. We are above that right now with the overnight high, Brendo, being 68.62. We're still below that 68.75 technical area of resistance that we got to not that long ago. So let's see if we can clear 68.75. That's going to be resistance level 1. If we start getting going, and it really does feel like we're poised for a flat top break as we're putting in higher lows with that same flat top, we're looking at 6,900 as our resistance level 2. If we sell off, Brendo, the overnight low, 68.37, we're going to go ahead and say 68.25 as support level 1.
A hurry apparently this morning.
It's okay.
Yeah,
you can work around him, bro.
Top, Okay. I had a whole thing on Netflix I wanted to talk about. Whatever. We have a couple of minutes. Let's talk about Netflix just real quick. I mentioned it off the top of the show. It's back to session lows right now, as you can see. The stock that is getting beyond that low from yesterday. There was a whole bunch of people that came out yesterday following that headline. If you missed it yesterday, apparently a mostly cash bid was submitted for Warner Brothers, and then a whole bunch of people came out yesterday with the argument, including Netflix themselves, essentially saying that this would actually improve the streaming wars, if you will, from a pricing standpoint, and being able to bundle these products together would actually give them the ability to maybe even reduce the cost.
I gotta agree with that, Breno. Remember why everyone started getting to streaming? Because you want to cut the cord from the overages of cable. You got 500 channels, you watched 5, right? And so the idea was to get really nuanced with what you wanted to watch, and then you ended up having to pay this streaming service, that streaming service, because you like all these different shows. So consolidation could help somewhat in the short term.
Yeah, and it got a little bit out of hand, maybe even a lot at hand for some people. I think, if it's $20 for this, $25 for this, 18, 19, whatever, 4 or 5 of those already is, well more than most people at least were paying for cable, I think. So there's an argument to be made there. Whether or not we actually see this happen remains to be seen, though, guys. But real quick, thoughts on Netflix today, downside?
I think, so the other day you had the rumor, we knew that Marvell was buying somebody, right? But one of the things that happened in the call that maybe was part of the reason why they bounced was the notion that they weren't going to have to issue any debt to make the deal happen. So I think maybe if, Netflix has been pulling back for a little bit, just going to show you the monthly chart there. I think maybe in Netflix case, if this deal does happen and we get the details, and I don't know whether it would be, they said it's going to be all cash, but whether or not they're going to have to issue any debt for that. If they don't, I think that could be seen as a positive, and maybe that's what the market is waiting for. Because I would agree with the synergy aspect of it. I don't see a particular reason other than maybe the concern over price tag and where the funding would come from. So if it's not that, then I think we'll find out pretty quick if a deal gets announced. But remember, there's nothing here is done. So until pen gets put to paper, for lack of a better term, then everything's going off speculation. So I've been staying away from Netflix until we have a little bit more clarity. But I think there's an opportunity if it continues to get dropped like this, and then it turns out they aren't using any debt, if they get a deal done, I think that'll be a positive for them, and that'd be a good place to buy. But for now, just a little bit of hands off until we know more.
Yeah, look, I don't mind that talk about Netflix and cable, but the thing is that like Netflix is completely different. Like my kids don't even know what the hell cable is, like, so I think for us old heads around here, we're used to watching, that Seinfeld and some of the shows on cable, waking up Saturday morning, watching whatever, He-Man or Thundercats. But, at the end of it all, it's like, this is all that my family really cares about. I mean, it's what's on, like right now my daughter's watching Babysitter's Club, which is on Netflix, and I think that has like a couple seasons, so they're gonna work their way through that, and then something else will pop up. So that's why I think this Warner Brothers deal for Netflix is absolutely huge, and if they can get more properties, then it's just more things for people to watch. Like I told you, my wife and daughter and I got suckered into watching some Toddlers and Tiaras, and we had to get Warner Brothers Discovery for a month or so. That was $8.99 or whatever it was. So, you can pick and choose your packages. I mean, a lot of these things are 1 month type deals anyways, if you're just looking for specific shows. But I don't think the Netflix whole cable thing anymore, like, the fact that is, the only reason that you would really want cable anyways, I would think, is for live sports. And that's starting to become more on stream now too, right? With, again, you can get ESPN on a stream. You could get any of these names. Netflix now has games, so does Amazon. So I don't know about that, but like, I don't know for any of you guys back there, Brendan, Shreve, Neil, like we don't really watch too many cable related shows. I don't even know, like I couldn't, maybe you guys can. I can't tell you what the #1 show on cable is right now. Like what is the #1 sitcom right now?
Sitcom? I have no idea.
Really changed this environment was when streaming came out. I know for me specifically, as soon as you had the opportunity to watch it whenever the hell you wanted to,
Exactly.
the urgency of needing cable in real time just completely went out the door. Yeah, market moving a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something hit the market.
Get into the rundown here. I'll keep an eye out for any kind of headline, but I don't know. I think that was really the case that did it.
Yeah, for me, it was. Go ahead.
Okay, well,
Go ahead, Sean.
yeah.
I meant to interrupt, but I didn't mean to do it like that. But we're just so close to each other. Oh, it's Microsoft lowering AI spend or something like that right now. We're gonna get this all figured out. This is that one story that you didn't want to hear. So there goes the market to the downside there as we continue to go down. I mean, it's only down 1.3%. Maybe it's not the end of the world, but what is also happening with Nvidia right now? Not moving much. Do they have a deal with AMD or anything here? So, Brendan, we don't exactly have the exact story. I just heard Microsoft in my ear, so we could throw it back to you guys. But yeah, that whole cable thing, Sharif, what's your opinion on this Netflix deal?
You know what, Sean? I personally like the ability to actually watch shows on whatever time frame that I like. Personally, I like, and then you can also, watch them back to back to back, whereas in television, you got to wait for that next episode the next year. I still have cable. I've told you guys that comes with my condo. It's not really an option for me. The only thing I really watch on cable, Sean, is news. That's really it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm watching.
Like CNN has,
All right, we'll keep an eye out for this headline, guys. I still don't see it. So as soon as it does come across, we'll pull that up.
I
But
see
let's
it from
get
the
into
information
a couple of individual movers here to start things off. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. It's free. Why not? Link is below. As always, top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page. All you need is your email address then. And then we'll send that to you every single morning. Oh, there it is. Finally popped up. Yeah, Microsoft lowers AI software sales quotas as customers resist newer products. So again, Microsoft lowers AI software sales quotas, not the spend, it's sales quotas, as customers resist newer products. So make of that what you will.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a Microsoft-specific issue because they haven't looked good lately, Brendo. They're well off the highs, that double top into the mid-550s as we saw, and it's been selling off as of late. So we're going to have to certainly keep an eye on that. Should we start off with Marvell?
Go for it. Yep.
Let's go with Marvell. Great earnings report yesterday, but it was not received well initially, even though they beat on the top and bottom line for the current quarter as well as the guide. They printed 76 pennies EPS on revenue of $2.08 billion, easily beating the 74 and the 2.07 expected by the street with respect to the guide. 79 cents per share on revenue of 2.2. That beats the 70. Well, it's in line with the 79 pennies expected, but beats on the top line 2.18. But the shares were down 5% until, of course, that call came on. CEO Murphy offered more color on the data center business during the company's earnings call. He says, we now expect Marvell's data center revenue to grow year over year by more than 25% next fiscal year. That exceeded the estimates, Brendo, and the market and the stock shot up as a result.
Market continuing to come downside here again, guys. This is the information reporting this. Again, Microsoft lowering AI software sales quotas as customers resist newer products. Again, according to the information, we'll look for more info on that.
A lot of things. Yeah. Just to go over, because we've already seen the impact in Microsoft here, and we'll get to Marvell. But Nvidia just went red and tagged 181, so bad for them. Obviously, even what's crazy, you're catching strays everywhere. Like Tesla was running on the robotics story. It's right back to where we were when this all started. So back down into the 430 level as they're getting a little bit clobbered. I guess if you're okay if you're AEO this morning. But this Microsoft story, and we knew they were having troubles, specifically getting clients to use. But yeah, the bleed, it's almost as if they're looking for an excuse when it comes to like a stock like Nvidia. Any little bit of a chink in the armor. And obviously this is going to change.
Wow.
Right? Because Marvell was kind of chilling out here as well, potentially trying to break VWAP. It's now starting to fill in the gap. And I was saying before, just to go to the Marvell story, I think some of the gap, of course they had a good guide, or at least it's particular when it comes to data center. But I think the big thing also was that they stressed that they're not going to go into any debt on this acquisition that they're making. But all of that positivity kind of goes out the window with this little move back in. So with the futures bounce, I mean, Marvell, even if this comes back, like yesterday's highs were 94, and I believe it's $96 if I zoom out a little bit further. Oh, no, well, okay, can't zoom that out any further. It'd be $96 that was a prior high as well to look at. So 94 and 96, maybe some dip buy zones. But clearly this Microsoft story has changed sentiment in all of tech, at least in the next, at least until the open. We'll see. Because it felt like more of a Microsoft-specific story to me, and I think there's some strays that are being caught. But let's see how this all hashes out. Like Tesla seems like, why would Tesla drop there?
Yes, for Tesla, I agree with that, but I'll take this on sort of the same side as you, but I don't think it's related to, it's a Microsoft story 100%, but I think OpenAI is definitely, there was that red alert note that came out yesterday with OpenAI, and right now, like that's not a great headline for any of these names, like period, right? I mean, this is the whole thing that we're waiting for is what's going on with AI. Is the spend going to continue? Can they monetize it, right? The only person using Copilot is my guy Joe over here. So I don't know if he's even monetizing off this guy. So, you know, at the end of the day, this is bad, and there it goes lower. And I talked about, I think this gets a lot worse. And people saying I should redo the sticky note. I have Apple, Uber, Intel, and Tesla. So the only thing that I'm saying is here, all hail. Apple's just like, and what? You guys deal with this. We'll get someone to pay us to use their AI, and we'll go from there, right? We're still selling, we still have a 2.4 billion install base. So Apple's just chilling. Apple's going to be my #1 trade today. We'll get to that at the end. But look, I said yesterday, we said that, you know, the brains of the operation are the GPUs, the AMDs of the world, the NVIDIAs of the world. Broadcom's got their hands in a lot of things. But Marvell is what connects this all together. You know, they're the spine, they have the silicon, they got the celestial AI now, you know, and the photonics there as well. Sharif was talking to me about that earlier. It's just, there's a lot happening with Marvell. Now this move is not going, I got a little bit out at 95 yesterday because of where we were. We talked about that live on the show, just like we got out some Palantir at 175, right? That's probably looking good now. Palantir probably turning around off this. But this is a bad story for them as well. I mean, if all of these chips come tumbling down with as far as demand, well, then demand for Marvell's products also, unfortunately, take a hit. So it was great to celebrate Marvell yesterday early, but we can't control whatever news story winds up coming out. And this one right now is rocking the space. Like, what ADP number? You know, like, here's ADP, oh yeah, we're chill, we'll just bounce off VWAP and act like we're having a normal day. Whap to the downside. OpenAI, if they were a public company right now, they would be at -$1. So I just like, they have so much debt and all of that stuff, and now you're gonna get one of the major spenders and someone that's committed so much to you to have this happen. Bye-bye Microsoft. I would say without looking at it, see you later. Oracle as well, possibly. There it goes on this move as well. So it's just like, it's probably overdone because this doesn't sound like lowering sales quotas. If anything, that might be helping their sales guys get paid more. Like if they have a lower quota, then maybe they can excel and get that level. So I don't know, this is from the information. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth. And if Microsoft releases something stating why they did this kind of a move, then I could maybe take more from it than what we're doing now. And what we're taking from this is weaker demand on the AI side, especially as far as monetization is concerned, right? So, yeah, well,
it'll be Anthropic that goes public first. They've already said they want to try next year.
So
I think like that's, no, if you're looking for like the whole, like sometimes you get like a distinctive top when things like that go public. It'll be them before. Yeah. Well, it's already been stated. They're looking to go. They think they said they'll be profitable before OpenAI. They say they're going to go for an IPO before OpenAI. But I just want to point quickly out before we get into American Eagle, which is shocking. A retail name's holding up in all of this. You know, that gold pulled back here. So we were just talking about silver. Silver went red. It was trending up all morning long. Even this pullback. So there was just like this quick like risk off and sell everything that we need to have settle down a little bit here. But there was no discernible dip in American Eagle, which headed toward 26 apparently.
That was silver.
Yeah, guys, I just updated that on screen there for you. Also revamping AI agent features for Windows computers specifically. So Microsoft also revamping AI agent features for Windows computers. That doesn't sound overly negative, but maybe less is more at this point is the approach here for Microsoft. Again, if anybody missed that one as well. But as Neil was alluding to there, what doesn't care about Microsoft's AI sales quotas? Yeah. Good genes.
You went there, eh, Brendo? Okay,
good genes.
Shout out to Sydney Sweetie, man. All right, look, American Eagle looked quite well. Let's talk about it. Q4 comparable sales up 8 to 9% year over year, well ahead of the 2% expected by the street. They raised their full year adjusted operating income 303 to 308 million, well ahead again of the 255 to 265. Management here highlighted record-breaking momentum during the Thanksgiving weekend. They beat on EPS, they beat on revenue, net income. They're actually making money now, a little bit less than $100 million. Compare that to the 80 million that they made last year as well. Total sales grew 6% year over year, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, Brendo. The actual American Eagle brand itself only saw 1% year over year increase in comps. It was really this ARI or ARI, I don't even really know how to say it. Comparable sales there grew 11% with 13% growing for revenue, and their operating margin hit 8.3. They're really crediting a lot of their advertising, whether it's with Travis Kelce or Sydney Sweeney, and their kind of proliferation into the mainstream again.
And more importantly, you're $1.97 away from 26 bucks right now.
But Joe's got a plan, Brenda.
Okay,
He's got a plan.
We'll wait and hear about Joe's plan.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you should never make a bet that you can't win, because technically, Joe, the only way Joe can win this bet is if American Eagle goes under. Like, they'd have to go bankrupt and be delisted before getting to 26, because Sharif has forever for this to happen, and it could happen this week. 21% short float is what American Eagle has, and I would say that the fact that same-store sales growth did not really even include American Eagle means that a lot of the bump in the growth they're getting, you can't even really attribute to the ads. So they're doing it without that pump. okay, like that's almost, it's like weirdly a good thing, because then if you get that on board as well, like you should see that 26. So yeah, holding up and doesn't care about this like little AI correction or whatever we're calling this morning with Microsoft. So I think this one is kind of treat it like normal. Like it doesn't really affect anything that I was thinking about it before. Like at the time it was holding VWAP before this little spike, I was looking back into 22.5 to 22.75, which, you know, I don't know if we're going to be able to get that dip. So I'll have to look at VWAP potentially off the open here. But if we do lose contain, like if you lose support levels, I was looking just underneath 23 for a dip buy. And as long as it's there, I think you want to play the long side of this. Just understand it's been a huge rally. So like have a level that you like. Like if it loses VWAP, then I know I can get away from it. Once it loses the pre-market low, I know where I want to wait, that 22.50 to 22.75 area. But for now, yeah, American Eagle, all systems go, holding that volume weighted average price. Light relative volume, I'm shocked. I would have expected more than 1 million pre-market. So definitely something to wait at least a few beats off the open, because it doesn't seem like it's as active as the stocks that we're used to trading.
Yeah, Joe, Neil will bet with you. You just got to figure one out. What was our bet, Joe?
You guys didn't have any bet. What are you talking about?
Okay, well then stop saying you're 2-0, my guy. Okay, so here we go. So here goes.
What, you don't remember the beers that you owed me and you got me? Hence why we were out for beers that one day across the street?
No, I 100% remember.
So I'm 2-0.
I 100% remember the beer thing, but I can't remember what the bet was, is what I'm saying.
You owed me 2 beers, so. Hey.
Yeah, because I'm a nice guy. But no, there was, no, for sure. I was just playing fun there, because definitely there was a bit. I just can't remember it. That's why I wanted to ask you what that was. But there it goes, 479. I mean, Microsoft's still going lower. The whole thing is, I don't want everybody in the chat is like, what's going on and everything. It's Microsoft. We had that story there, lowering the quota for AI sales. So that's going to be a problem. But I just want to say, like, Nvidia was cruising, right? Like we closed yesterday at 181. We're at 180.65. So Nvidia, obviously it had a good little run up. It was going to tick higher today and probably, take out this 186. Like it was going fine. The ADP, we had recovered all from that. And right now you're just going back in and you just bounced off of yesterday's level. So I know we have Nvidia up right now. AEO, 21% short float. I really like that long, and I think it gets hidden today and just keeps on going higher. Like, I don't think there'll be too many people, especially with this new headline, and we're going to go over right now back to the desk about NVIDIA, but with this new headline, I do think that names like AEO and whatnot can just sort of drift higher on that short float as more eyeballs might be away from that and over to some of these names today, as some of these stories will get lost, and I think that's a good thing for AEO longs. People won't be so focused on it, and it'll just allow it to drift higher like it's doing right now in the pre-market. So, all right, let's go get this story with NVIDIA and perhaps why it was up at one point today.
A hard right turn there for NVIDIA pre-market here this morning. I'll leave that up for anyone. Lots of people still coming in, guys. Good morning, first of all. Come join us at 8 o'clock. You missed a lot already this morning. That's the major headline on screen right now. Microsoft lowering their AI sales software quotas. You had a little bit more on that real quick.
Yeah, Brendo, it looks like already the sales quotas that they had, they already missed. It's not like they're lowering it because of some auxiliary reason. No, they already had quotas there that their sales individuals didn't meet, and so as a result of that, they're lowering it down. So we'll have to see if it's a Microsoft-specific issue again or an AI-related issue.
Regardless, demand, apparently the issue overall, specifically for Microsoft products. Anyways, we'll see how that goes. Just real quick, we got a bunch of numbers there at 9:15. Industrial production, capacity utilization, industrial production. These are all September. They're all delayed numbers, so not really affecting the overall market, especially with what is going on. Just keep in mind, 9:45 and then 10 o'clock, there's S&P PMI, and then the ISM version of PMI to come today as well. As we said to start things off this morning, our friend Jensen's going to be in Washington today. I mean, trying to, I guess, drum up any kind of support for the China argument once again. As we said to kick things off, though, I think this is just going to come down to the bargaining chip for Trump. When he wants to pull it out and use it, he will.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Brendo. I mean, the argument here is, look, use our products instead of the Chinese, and if we don't get you using our products now, They're Chinese. We'll fill in the gap at some point, Brando, and they're going to eat our lunch, take our market share. So this is what's happening. It's going to be outside of regular market hours. NVIDIA is going to be hosted at the CSIS event, December 3rd, 5 p.m. Eastern, high-profile discussion with certain business leaders as well as certain Senate Republicans as well.
Yeah, we'll see if anything comes from that, especially after this move now, guys, back downside here. Things have changed a little for NVIDIA so far.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to say that things have changed on the Microsoft number, you can't know, and this is part of the, it's a fun part of the market at times, and if you happen to be long at the moment that happened, it couldn't have been good for you. Good reason to, if you trade pre-market, make sure you have access to things like stops. Not all brokers will allow you to use stop orders in the pre-market. I think it can help. But as far as NVIDIA goes, I'm going to a bit of a pivot here because things have changed. 180 needs to hold. I think that's pretty obvious. Yesterday's low and then go right back in, and it's Monday's close price as well, that 180. If we can't hold 180 on NVIDIA, then there's a little bit of a gap fill that we'd be contending with. It's going to change things for Intel, and I had written down AMD for a potential short, but then was like, nah, everything looked pretty bullish, and I was going to just stick with that so I can go back to the iPad, because I did like where AMD was sitting, for like a 218 to 220 short. I was like, oh, like that would make some sense, but I was more bullish in the market. Well, that kind of changes with this story, unfortunately. So AMD's already through yesterday's low, so indicating a little bit more relative weakness, even if percentage-wise it's the same, just a little bit more weakness breaking through yesterday's low. So I do want to fade this. I'll look 16 would be the first level, because waiting for the 18 to 20 doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense anymore, because you can, like, levels before we get this kind of a news story, they're not as significant. If you do a complete V-shaped recovery, I don't know how much I'd be feeling that short at that point. So yeah, so AMD 216 is going to end up being the play for me in this space. And with regards to NVIDIA, just key in on that 180. If we manage to hold 180 and actually get a trend break off of that, then that could be good for pretty much everything. But right now, I'd be more concerned with breaking.
Look, I didn't have NVIDIA written down today, but if I did, I would have put down 180. So there's the drip down in. I might have actually, sometimes I look at the 200 period, and that would have been 181, and that probably would have been the area for me to buy. So between 180, like I would have wrote down NVIDIA, yesterday I wrote down 180 to 179 yesterday, and that was the exact bottom there yesterday, was 179 to 180. So today I would have the same feels, but I would have upped that. I would have gone to 180 to 181. So right into here is great support for NVIDIA, and I think it's a long. But then all of a sudden, like, I don't want to fight momentum. And right now, it's a nice move down. The volume's not huge or anything like that here in the pre-market, but it's definitely weighing in on what we're talking about here with Microsoft and the sales quota. So I'm not convinced either way yet on what to do with NVIDIA. So I think that most people were nervous hands with NVIDIA over the last 2 weeks. Wow, those hands are going to be getting jittery even more now, because the market bounced back. I just told you the S&P 500 and Nasdaq are 1 and 2 points away from all-time highs, right, before this move. And NVIDIA didn't battle back really at all. I mean, even yesterday, getting up to 181 at the close, like, that's not anything that we could be like super pleased with, right? We had Intel moving higher, Google obviously. So maybe now for the next little while, NVIDIA's the lagger, not the leader, until we get the next set of earnings, to be honest with you. Let's hear, because the gun is being pointed at NVIDIA every day. There's competition coming at these guys. This is why Jensen's going. We don't know what's going to happen with China. He obviously needs a new market, needs more buyers. And if he can't find that, today could be a real bad day for NVIDIA. And I mean, look at Google, right? Google's coming for them, and Meta's happy to find Google lower cost. You don't need these super chips to run the world. You just need them to run the best parts. These robotics turn is probably going to need some of these super chips. But if Google can get away with these TPUs and Meta can use them and some of these other companies can get a little cheaper, then yeah, I am pretty nervous about my NVDA position, and it's a big one. I told you we were reviewing that yesterday. So I recently bought this one at 175, thought it was all good up north of $2 bills. I mean, I think that could get seen today, 175 for Nvidia. So let's just wait for it. I don't want to be the one that cries wolf here, but the wolf is out right now and it's running around the chicken hen or chicken coop right here and just eating up all these chip names. So I don't know. We'll wait to see if the Nasdaq winds up holding here. Only down 0.5%, you know.
Not that bad.
Sky is not necessarily falling, but it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
All right, sentiment already obviously, you know, very iffy when it comes to this topic anyway. So any kind of cracks under the armor, cracks starting to show themselves, not going to be good as far as the overall market is concerned. Just be aware, Scotty B is talking currently at the New York Times Deal Book Summit. So Scott Bessent making some comments on Trump and tariffs and everything that Scott Bessent tends to talk about. Let's talk about GitLab. Mostly positive here. If you want to go back to that just real quick, Andre, it's tough to see, but all these green numbers down here are positive, obviously, versus what they could have been to the downside or even a miss. All came down to the guidance, which even the guidance was only in the mid-range of what they had priorly provided. So, I mean, overall, not bad.
And the reason you've got so many greens on there, Brendo, is because revenue climbed 25% year over year, typically a good thing. Their problem is they're spending a lot, and that's eating into a lot of their margins. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. So here's what happened, guys. Record loss of $8.3 million. Last year on the quarter, they took $29.1 million home, despite the fact that they grew revenue, as I mentioned, 25% year over year, up to $244.4 million, easily beating the $239.5 expected by the street. The CEO says, look, more code means more need for GitLab. I looked over to Brendo. I'm like, what does this company do again? And he's like, look, they're a repo of different source codes. You can go on. They're free for use. It's open source, and different programmers exchange different things. Well, it looks as if I thought just offhand that maybe sort of some of these source code AIs, like what's that one by Claude called Code.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that were eating their lunch. The CEO takes the opposite approach. Brendo, he's like, no, in fact, we're actually getting more people coming onto the site as a result.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is, the more eyeballs on something, the better it will eventually become, with little tweaks here and there. But if you're making an app, for example, I mean, Sean and I were talking about those AI calorie type apps now where you can literally just take a picture of your food and it'll pick apart all the different ingredients that are in the actual food and then itemize them as far as the macros are concerned. Something like that, you could put that code up on a GitLab type of thing, and then anyone making an app like that can just go grab that and include it into
and modify it.
To what they need. But overall, as we said, the numbers really not that bad. The spend, the guidance, a little bit of a problem here. As far as analysts are concerned, Rosenblatt, the only one, a little bit negative. They maintained a buy, but just lowered their price target.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go from a 0 PE to this somewhere around 40, which isn't necessarily egregious, but ball doesn't lie with the price. We'll get to it in a second. Just want to just show you guys nothing crazy on the imbalance board. You might have been some fear that you'd see a bunch of sells on some of the tech names. Right now, I just have ETHA with a buy of 700,000, and then Neo's in there for 4,000 sell. But as far as GitLab goes, I'm just keyed in on this 40 level. It was a flat bottom break there on the earnings name. It's such an obvious look at how many days we held, like last week and including Monday, at exactly 40 bucks. So as long as it holds underneath that prior support, I want to play it short. And if it gets, I think I put in my note 40 and a quarter just to give it a little bit of room. If it's above 40 and a quarter, I think you could go gap fill. As I said, it wasn't all that bad of a report. This is more of a, well, look what the stock has been doing. A continuation favors a retest of the 52-week low. So if it gets above 40 and a quarter, looking short, and even then it's probably a reversal long. So GitLab, it'll be SSR, but I'm not, like my gut's not thinking initial SSR bounce here.
There we go with Marvell moving higher right now off of $98. So that looks like a great little bottom, $98.50. The 200 period moving average for Marvell coming right back to life right now as that name bounces just a little bit higher. We are getting some bounces. I said that, like if we were here, 180 without this news gives Nvidia a move. I'm going to throw it back over because Apple is the #1 stock on today's sticky note, and we'll talk about it in a minute with me, but right now with the boys.
Yeah, under 2 minutes to go here real quick. I mean, there's nothing really significant as far as news for Apple today. A couple people mentioning, or a couple analysts mentioning yesterday, this company's on track for record iPhone sales by the end of the year.
Yeah, supposedly going to break the 2021 record for the iPhone 13, Brendo, which they hit 236 million units. IDC now projecting 247.5 million units for 2025, which would be a 6% bump year over year.
And we're working on what could be, anyways, guys, 3 or 4 day rally here.
Most people know the Apple story, and it's just a huge install base. The best products, they just keep on getting bigger and better, right? I mean, households keep getting more and more of these guys, you know, part of the family, and it just keeps on working. So I really like it. I don't think they're sort of, I mean, everything's going to get clumped together about the AI story, but Apple has their own story, and it just keeps on growing, and they're using AI to their advantage. They're not necessarily investing in it. They're using what others are investing in and plopping it into their software and into their hardware, and the next thing you know, it's going to make their products, like, people trust Google. They trust Gemini. OpenAI is brand new. ChatGPT has been great, but I just wonder about Apple, that tie-up with Google, one that finally gets announced. I don't even know if there's anything official there yet, but I like the story, and I think Apple continues to work with Google and partner up. They have a great relationship with Chrome. It's been like that for a couple decades. Why not get that again with Gemini? And I think there's something brewing there, and when we hear about that, then I think it'll get even higher, and it's Apple right now. I have it at 285, so let's see. This is brought to you by 3D Capital. Thanks, Neil, for hitting that. We have less than 10 seconds now. Go check them out, IDK, 3D Capital right now, IDKFF on the OTC market. All right, that Microsoft story might have been a little bit blown out there, so we're gonna wait to see how this market reacts. Right now, Apple 286. Nvidia, now that volumes finally come in, it's heading back lower. So there we go, man, 180 and change. That CAPR, some of you talking about that, CAPR Therapeutics does open back up 418% right now. CAPR upside, watch out, maybe halting at some point here. Neil, only up 400%, so we'll wait to see what happens here with CAPR.
Yeah, I was just double checking what the story is, but the story right now is the bounce in Microsoft right off the open. It just bounced $3. Okay, that's not what I expected when I just looked up. I'm like, we're bouncing on Microsoft. I expected to see a bounce on Nvidia. Instead, Nvidia lost 180.
Yep.
So
And
Microsoft catches a bit of a bounce. And then we lost 180 here on Nvidia. So unfortunately, I was actually getting excited the market was going to bounce for us there. But unfortunately, yeah, 180 underneath here on Nvidia. That Microsoft story, of course, leading the way for pretty much everything that's going to be in tech right now. But well, at least American Eagle is still relatively strong, although it's trying to fill in the gap. There was a plunge of about $1 just now on the AEO, and then it came right back up. So it's moving. This isn't even open yet, I don't think. Yeah, no opening print yet on AEO. Going to stay away from that till I actually get an opening print.
Apple's gone. Apple just touched 280, almost 288 right there. So see you later, Apple, it looks like, to the upside there for AAPL. And guess what halted? CAPR halted right now. Last printing, $35. So opens 33. I guess it must open 32, up to 35 there, 10%. It is now halted there. Therapeutics name, better than expected results, I'm going to assume on that. Apple's now 288, so let's freaking go, man. Back up the truck. This is my largest holding, and pretty happy with that so far here to see it. Yeah, we're good. Thanks. That actually felt pretty good. Actually, come back again. All right, so there goes Apple right now to the upside. Bye-bye, see you later, ciao. Let's see what's going on. I mean, I can't trade it now. It's too far. Let's see what's going on with Google on this news. Nice move back up to 316 and change, like Austin does. That's Joe's music there. Google 316. Dun, 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 dun. Those beers going in Google. All right, so that means going through there. Nvidia is the name that we all probably want to watch. Yesterday we wrote down 179. Right now it's 180, trying to figure it all out. And then Tesla was a 430 take.
437.
Yeah, I know. I wrote down 430, and that came into play on that news. But yeah, so far today, look what we have written down. Apple long, Uber long, Intel long, Tesla long. So they're all gone right now. That story sort of gave us sour taste early.
Well, also gone is GitLab's gone. So there wasn't even a kind of attempt at a bounce on GitLab. It just went straight lower, so 15% now. Maybe we'll get some kind of a pop. It's SSR, so sometimes you're going to get a pop and it can come into VWAP or 39 again. But not looking very good. What is looking at least a little bit better for the market is the Nasdaq's back at VWAP. Look at this bottoming tail wick on NVIDIA.
Tesla's lost its damn mind.
That's a huge bottom tail candle on NVIDIA. If this ends up holding 180 at any point, I think we get a nice curl. I want to remind everybody, there is the robotics headline that I feel like we've all forgotten about this. As U.S. government going to look to, hey,
look at the bounce back in the market.
This is insane. So Tesla moving, RR was one that I was looking for, Rich Tech. Well, unfortunately, this was they caught a big time stray. Like, this is now red on the session. Like, not pulled back to where it was before, it's now red on the session. So you almost have to throw these out and see, let it just settle down. Like, it's a ridiculous turnaround on those things. I'm gonna make the assumption that iRobot has a similar move. It was just RR that I was looking at. Did you see that? This is
what? I saw on your screen. Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
So I was looking at ARKQ on that robotics call. So this doesn't have any volume. I wanted to look at it to see, and I wanted to call that up. I actually bought a little bit more. All right, so if Tesla, I just put a bid on Tesla down here at 433. So just thinking that a pullback into VWAP, which is at 433 right now, that's a play for me. So if we do come back in $2 on Tesla, we're gonna take that. And then on Apple, same kind of ways. If this comes back into 286 right now, but VWAP's changed it to 287, but I'm gonna wait. 286 is, maybe I get a little higher than that, maybe 286.50 or so. Let's watch out to see what happens here with Apple as everything seems to be going swimmingly to the upside. JP Morgan, not worried about this play by Microsoft, although maybe they should. We'll wait to see on Oracle here today as they've bounced back up. Remember, I do think, and I think it's a good point that you brought that up about the robotics story, because that kind of goes against a little bit here. That's good for many of these companies, like a Tesla, I mean, you just showed RR, which is down, so I don't understand that, but that's good, because if robotics is gonna be a thing, they need to be powered by something. So chips is what's good right there. Let's check out what's going on with Intel as well. So Intel today, I wanted to get 4250, and 4250 on Intel, pretty interesting level because, well, it has to go back to October, so I need the daily on this one. But it's the October highs that we sort of saw right here, 42 to 4250. If we can pull back into here, let's see if we get a dip opportunity on Intel, and that's coming in just a little bit right now. So I think it's my Apple that might fill first around 286 or Tesla around 33s. So these are the two names there, and then there goes Nvidia breaking back now underneath that 180, but this hasn't decided what it wants to do yet, so I'm not getting in yet anymore. So I'm just gonna have to focus. Sorry, I'm not focused on the chat right now, so I see some people tagging me, but I will have to look at that. I'm looking for a trade.
Yeah, we have, I see Benton mentioning Okta with a bit of a spike as well on their earnings. AMD, ouch. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ouches. Right now. And the reason I was bringing up RR when looking at Tesla was because Tesla was running on that robotics story, and now it's relatively strong because all the other names, all the small names, gave it all back, whereas Tesla has not. So AEO is what I'm watching currently because it just regained VWAP, trying to pick this one back up on top of VWAP. I feel like if the market plunges and NVIDIA can't hold this 180, that at least you're insulated here to a certain extent, it being a bit of it's a retail play, so you don't have to be worried about it nearly as much. So trying to get into that one, and yeah, I've just canceled my order on GitLab. GitLab's now down 16%. There's no sign of a bounce here in GitLab at all. So they just continue to plunge. This is, I'm pretty sure this, definitely a 52-week low, if not all-time lows. Definitely 52-week low.
We wrote down here today on the sticky notes, we'll say shout out to the sticky note, because today if you went long, you would have got some money, but too hard to tell today. There's Uber, 88 long. They're tied up with Nebius. We didn't even get to that. New launch in Dallas there today for Uber. So I was just looking at all the names that I had, Intel, Uber, Apple, and Uber. Bang, right there. It hits $89 as the low there for Uber, but that's trying to go just a little bit higher as well right now, so nice move there for Uber. Uber, I told you guys, in that down move last week, I bought two names, Uber and Boeing. Boeing's not doing anything. But Uber right now, we got long at 84 bucks. So 80.
Or 2 days ago.
Yeah, Boeing was okay yesterday. They had that CFO talk yesterday. Oh, okay. Well, we're long at 200 bucks.
10% yesterday.
Yeah. We're looking at it yesterday. Yeah, for sure. In the pre-market there, we had that good news on Boeing, kept on going. So, all right. So I'm long Boeing 200 recently, and I'm long Uber 84.60 or something like that off of those lows. So those names are working out, but we still need to find a trade today. Apple just keeps on going higher. So like, Part of it is like I'm getting antsy here because normally I'm in, and we should have just bought that VWAP right there. I had VWAP down at 286, which was wrong. So I need to get better at looking at that 287 a play there for Apple, and then Tesla would be another one. And I think when you have days like today where there's kind of battling headlines and there was such great movement in the pre-market, it's fine to sit on your hands. So I don't feel any kind of ways right now.
The only stock doing what I was looking for right now to try to get into is like it's AEO, and it's just it was so insulated. But I don't want to chase that one through a break. Like everything else, remember we said Nvidia 180 would determine how I'd feel about tech? Well, what's the decision Nvidia is making? It's rinsed up and down 180 since the open on every single candle. Like every candle's been underneath 180, every candle's recovered above 180. So there's not even a definitive direction off that key price. I think if it loses, then I'd favor shorts. If it wins, then I go back to I liked Intel long on the notes, but I don't want to go long on Intel until I feel a little bit better about the market direction, which I think is going to be led by Nvidia and Microsoft at this moment. And just to recap here, Microsoft, the weakest of the bunch, down 3 points here, and pretty much right at the lows. So there's not a heck of a lot to like.
I think I'm going to wait.
Right now in the overall, at least in the tech space, right? So if you're looking at
just shorted Nvidia,
if you're looking at AEO, or maybe you're looking at that CAPR on the small caps, oh, it's halted again. So CAPR is halted again. TAP is at 40. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys, we do have some commentary coming from Scott Bessent, who, of course, is the U.S. Treasury Secretary, saying that he's very optimistic about the economy next year. And I think certainly of note that he's saying that certain sectors of the economy have weakened and that we, meaning the U.S., need interest rate cuts. So Scott Bessent here pushing for cuts. I do also want to remind you guys we do have some economic data coming 9:45 a.m. We're going to be getting S&P Services and Composite PMI at 10 a.m. Trump is set to make an appearance, and we get ISM Services PMI. Back to you.
Yeah, so VWAP on the AEO is going to be the first position. AEO still has a 5-cent spread. It's a $24 stock, and it still has a 5-cent spread and 10 minutes into the market.
So I was telling you, I don't think there's much interest, right? Like people aren't closing those gaps.
There's not.
A lot of people are looking over
I think
here.
Everybody's looking at the tech names right now.
Uber,
so I'm gonna scalp it to the high or the pre-market high, and then as long as it can hold on to VWAP, just maybe reload this, and hopefully AEO just flat out doesn't care what's happening over to I say to my left, but like I'm just looking at all the stocks on the left side of my screen up here because it's Nvidia and tech not doing all that well. So look, at the end of the day, I think you got to be a little bit patient. It's worth checking out what Bitcoin is doing. How do we not talk about Bitcoin? Bitcoin ended up on my list today.
It bounced.
Specifically because I wanted 51 on IBIT. Well, guess what we're not getting even with that little pullback? 51s. Why? Because Bitcoin's about to break the highs. That makes a little bit more.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, 51. Yeah, 52. Good bounce spot there. It looks like probably like 91,000 or so there for BTC. So I'm not.
I didn't. My
What's up, Joe?
But who hit the? Okay.
I don't know. Joe going crazy over there. All right, so there it goes, man. 52 and change now. There goes Nvidia. Just touched 180 again and came back in. So I'm thinking this has to be the short, right? I mean, if I'm going to put on a position, the thing is I was waiting for Apple to pull back, which Apple's doing right now. So this is going to be one that right into view up. I'm at 25s right now. That might be too low. I'm going to just buy a little bit now, get involved, punch the 38s. I'm at 25, and we could have just waited for that. Right there, yeah, as soon as Joe has his mic on, you let us know, Andre. There he is, what's up?
Bitcoin, you can pull up the old screen here, little VWAP break, getting that move up into $53, my friend.
All right, good trade there. Joseph gets IBIT. All right, so that makes sense. So good call there off that 52. So we're in our first position. So this is position alert sign. Right there, so you ever hear that, it means you're in something. There goes Apple right now. We're in it. It's not going anywhere, but we're in it off of VWAP. It does get that dip down opportunity there. So let's see now what winds up happening with Apple. First area to get out, honestly, let's go 288 if we're lucky enough to get that. And then after that, we'll see if we get a little bit higher. Right now, we're into Apple. My first trade off of the sticky note, which it was the #1 trade idea for me today, was Apple. So let's just wait to see if it works. And we later liked it a little bit lower, but we got to take what the market gives us. And that ADP report came pretty weak as well, man. It was -5 or plus 5,000 ADP number there, and it came out minus 42,000. So not a great number there. Okay, here comes, oops, there. Okay, there we go. We got 25s there for Apple. I was gonna lose this bid if it takes 286.80. So like, I don't necessarily want to be in this for too long. Not, like I said, today is not the day for me to be guessing on what this market wants to do. So we'll just trade a strong name off of what I believe is a good level. Here goes Apple. It just made a move back up there into 187.50, and I didn't do anything about it. So we're going to see if we could do something about it if that happens again. We're long Apple right now. First big position, well, first real position for today for me, the only one I've had. So here goes Apple. We're long right here, right now. 286.80. I'm stopping out.
Yeah, and just a thank you in the chat. Just remember, if you're putting symbols in the chat, everybody type that $ in there. I know iRobot and some of those names are moving. You go $ IRBT, then it's going to show up on the visualizer. And thank you for pointing out this on Pfizer. Don't know what's going on with Pfizer.
There's no news.
She just said there's no news?
No news is what she said, yeah.
Okay, so no news on Pfizer, up 3 points. And as you can see, very much trending higher. Rotation, I don't know. Like the first thing I would think about is if tech is weak, maybe you're getting one of those like healthcare, biopharma trend trades. Merck is also up. So that is at least a plausible explanation as to what could be going on with those. I'm still just an American Eagle. I just tried to cover. I saw it turning at the high of the day. So I just went to take out the last little bit. If we bounce off VWAP, this is a reload spot again. But let's go to Adara because we have some numbers.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we do. We're going to be getting here S&P Services PMI and S&P Composite PMI. We will get ISM PMI, but at 10 a.m. S&P Services PMI 55 expected, coming in at 54.1, so lower than expected. Services PMI coming in here. S&P Composite PMI 54.2, a little bit lower than the prior print of 54.8. Market not reacting too much to this, but again, the more closely watched print is going to be the ISM PMI. That's going to be coming out at 10 a.m. as we send you back to Sean and Neil. Do remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah, I only have a small bit of shares here, but wow, there it is, man. We already have our day goal right there. It's 9:45, but we should have had more shares there on Apple, but it does come in, and we said that we were a little nervous about what to be expected. So remember, this was 25s, and our stop was 80, so it was only 40 cents one way. So here we go. We're up 60 cents right now on Apple, and there it goes. The #1 trade idea on the sticky note today was to go long Apple, also go long Tesla, and Uber and Intel right there. So Tesla's gone. I mean, despite what the market's doing, these longs that we sort of pegged out for us seem to be working. Let's go figure out what Intel's doing, 43.09. Yeah,
that's weak.
Yeah, that's weak, I guess. I mean, the chip names, I'm not going long the chip names today, that is for sure. And then Tesla, we just looked at that, 437, not doing much. And the other name was Uber, which really got going here. I'm really happy with the move here on Uber. But there it goes, man. We might have our first dollar club at some point. I'm going to get out here a little bit at 180.05, and then we'll work on that. So your first position was AEO.
It worked, but only to the high. Remember I said that it was just turning? But I'm going to get out when it loses VWAP. I liked 22.5 if we go on a deeper dip, and I guess it kind of held that level. But VWAP already worked for 40 pennies. If it goes there again and holds above the volume weighted average price, I'd like to see. But I just threw my break-even stop because VWAP is obviously going to be trending higher for now. And when it comes to the chip names, look, Nvidia still, every single candle is managing to cross 180 without distinction. So Nvidia is looking, it still hasn't really made a definitive close above or below 180. So like, I'm just not pulling the trigger on Intel yet. And I'm not pulling the trigger on Intel. I haven't pulled the trigger on AMD either until I get more clarity as to where I think Nvidia is going, and I don't. Like right now you're getting a gap fill in Intel, so that could be good because I liked 42.25. So if we get that opportunity, great. What is happening in Tesla, Tesla doesn't seem to want to pull in any of these prior highs from the afternoon. This is now holding VWAP very cleanly. So if AEO doesn't close above VWAP again, I feel like Tesla at VWAP might be the next play for me. I had to throw GitLab out, unfortunately. Like, just hey, there's GitLab. GitLab is continuing to go lower. This stock just never got anywhere near the 40 level to even attempt a pop and fade. So down 16%. It wasn't all bad on their report, by the way. GitLab got GitLab. I don't know what else to say. It wasn't really all that
GitLab.
bad.
Yeah, that's the right thing to say.
But we talked about this yesterday. My gut feeling, and I'd have to double check this, is it's not abnormal for GitLab to get punked on a not necessarily bad report.
All right, please, guys, we'll do this real quick and we'll get back to the market, but make sure you do scan that 3X Daily Levered. It's Beta Pro by Global X there. Get involved, man. The best part about this is they have their fee rebate until December 31st, so make sure you get involved now. 65 basis points. They have treasuries, everything you can look of. Just go to Global X right now, buy Beta Pro, S&P, TSX 60, everything with the Beta Pro 3X Levered products. And you know, they also do have the currency hedging, which is very important for us sophisticated traders here in Canada. Make sure you do scan that QR code, find out all the information you need to know about their product. Global X, pretty important there. All right, so I actually, in Bonehead Move of the Day, I thought I was getting out of some more of Apple, and instead I accidentally went short Nvidia, so I punched out immediately. If you saw me into that, it was just a small part of my Apple trade, so I got in and out. I looked over, I was like, what, I'm short Nvidia, I don't want that. But it looked like it would have been right. We were short at 180 there.
I was about to say.
Yeah, so I just got in and out. I'm actually made money on it, but it's not the trade that I care about. It was basically in and out for 5 cents, so on nothing. But coming right back in now is Apple. So, you know where my stop is, so we'll get a little bit more here down at 287 if we're able to on this little dip, but not trying to light this market on fire right now. It's doing that itself. So we'll just wait on it, not average in. This is my stop, that bottom wick, a little bit of a break of that gets us into 286.80. So that is where we step out of this trade. We'll average in right now here, but we don't like that one. I just heard Micron. I've already said Micron is the biggest house of cards than all of this. So we'll have to wait to see. I mean, it's not a house of cards. It's built on top of everybody else. But I just don't. I know RAM. My kid came to me yesterday, my 13-year-old, and goes, "Dad, you got to invest in RAM." And I was like, yeah, like where were you 6 months ago, my guy? So
the problem is, like,
you know, it's already gone.
Yeah, you basically have the big names starting to step in. And,
like I was proud of him for mentioning that.
And steal supply.
Got to get the timing
right. So unfortunately, it's a supply concern. So I don't.
Come on,
I got to reread the story for this CAPR. So apologies for not knowing the story of what's going on with CAPR. I haven't read it yet, but it's halted now to the downside, and the tap is showing an indicated open of $25. This is indicating it's going to open $10 lower from here.
Oh boy!
Right now, so that's going to be a little bit nasty if it does. Let's go to Adair.
So here's the story for CAPR. Sorry, CAPR Therapeutics. They shared top-line results from their Duchenne muscular dystrophy treatment, which I guess met the primary endpoint and also the key secondary cardiac endpoint. So good trial results for CAPR. Back to you.
Yeah, no, he and I were building a computer, and we upgraded the RAM. And so we went over there. So he came downstairs yesterday to tell me that it was a good thing that we bought RAM like a month ago, right, because RAM prices are going crazy. Yeah. And random access memory, of course. And I was just like, all right, I mean, look, I mean, that kind of thinking, that's exactly the kind of stuff that I teach my kids every single day, you know, and is look to see, you know, what can we do financially? You know, where are the next plays? They asked me about Bitcoin. I try to tell them about that. And right now they just started, and thankfully he's in grade 8, financial literacy. They started yesterday. It takes over one of their math lessons.
Not taught enough in school.
Yeah, so it's taught now, so that's good. So hopefully, he started talking to me about money and all this kind of stuff, and I think today they were going to do credit cards.
My biggest beef,
so yeah,
it just goes down to the fact that unless you actually take university economics, you're never really truly taught what money is and how it works in today's sense. You're taught
university economics is like
no, but you're taught the basics
too
of
high level,
like what you use from it, but not how money is created and how money creation affects literally everything. That's like the most fundamental thing in economics, and it should be taught in high school that the entire world economy is based on fractional reserve banking and creating money out of thin air and what the implications are of that. But anyways, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, that's way above anything that I don't want him to know that stuff. That's way too early. That's too confusing.
No, in high school, but I think.
Or if you want to know all that S stuff, then you can learn it in university. I think that's right. So I think if you want to become an economist and potentially be unemployed, that's a great opportunity. Okay, so here goes Apple. Nice move, 287 and change, making the move to the upside. And maybe, the new Fed chair coming through. We'll have to find out what his background is. I think the background is just Trump supporter. Okay, so Apple, we had
He was actually. He's worked for the Fed before, and he is the National Economic Director. I can find more out on him, but he has his pedigree is kind of in line with what we've seen before.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are levered up. I'm sure he has all the degrees in the world. Okay, so here goes Apple. We got a little bit out there on the move back up, but you know, these reloads right now as the market continues to go lower, I have no idea what's going on here with Apple. So, I mean, even the market, right? I mean, I think I have a good idea what's going on with Apple. It's getting bought up on these lows, but will it actually moon and give us that trade that we want? I don't know, but I'm going to be sitting here waiting for that. So we'll see what's going up, man. We're underneath VWAP, so that's the biggest concern for me right now. So let's get another out if we can get something in the 30s, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, that's it, and then we'll just wait for hopefully a higher bid going on this, man. We do have the jobs.
We do have jobs.
Yeah, coming out.
But like, just so at least there's something finally setting up here on AMD. I wanted to wait to see what happened with Nvidia. It's still underneath 180 bucks. But from the moment that we got that Microsoft headline, you've now held trend pretty decisively and at VWAP right here. So if you close under the trend line on the 3-minute, just looking up at AEO, that's close to VWAP again for reentry. If we hold VWAP, I want to look to short this. And if it breaks the trend, it's kind of an easy out for me. Like, I know where I'd be wrong. If this breaks trend line up, I'm hesitant to be long with Nvidia under 180.
Randy, I'm feeling that drill right underneath our feet right now.
No, you can.
Like I'm literally feeling that.
You can feel
drill.
Yeah, it's like
right
a little bit of
now. So there goes Apple like right now. Bang, yeah, bang, 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 bang for Apple. And yeah, this morning I was talking about how amazing this administration has been, right, with the sort of boost of this economy, of getting involved in the rare earth, and really looking forward in that decision yesterday for here's Treasury Secretary Besson right now, the Trump accounts, everything like that. I mean, I think those are great moves, and this economy really seems to be moving in the right direction right now with the Nasdaq and the Dow and everything near those highs. And so I really like, the fact that Trump got into Intel where they did, and
Intel's breaking view up right now.
Yeah, so now this market's finally starting to go. So we did get out some more Apple to the upside there as well. And let's just check out some Marvell. I'm not into Intel yet, so Marvell just dancing around that 98. I don't like to trade stock on earnings day, so I'll wait on that one. My big play right here, I'll tell you what it is Apple. I mean, we got some more outs there twice when we went first to VWAP, then up there into 55. We were able to take that level. But hey, with this market bouncing, I would have expected actually this market to go. And right now it's kind of not. So waiting to see if Apple goes upside as Nvidia. I still think this Nvidia short is probably here around this 180 to 181, 180.50 to 181 area right now. But I don't know, man. I don't like it. I can't. The problem is I'm in this Apple trade, which isn't going. So I'm going to take another piece out here at 48s and then, okay, here we go. Another 55, and then we'll wait. Because this could be a monster trade. Like if this gets to 288, then we're talking about, multiple days right there. But we'll lose a day if it goes down below that 286.80. But we're here to make some money. It's 956 right now. Neil's back in AEO and now on that Intel break.
Yeah, Intel broke VWAP and broke trend line. And I was ho-humming on AMD, but Intel was on the list for a long, which distinguished it a little bit from Advanced Micro Devices, which is also trying to break trend. I was actually thinking the other direction on AMD, so I'll just stick with that original plan. Oh, no, my trend line's gone. Yeah, so as long as we close above VWAP and I like it, we lose 43, got to jump out of this breakout trade. And we're back into American Eagle, obviously, that long, bouncing off VWAP. That gets back to the highs, which is 24.3. Then we'll look to get out of that one at about 24.3. By the way, Tesla's at the high of the day.
Oh, man.
For anyone out there. Tesla's still looking very, very good here. It's just that robotics story. Although some reason it's only Tesla that's holding up from that robotics story. All the other names have given up most of the ghost.
Yeah, I'm not, I got some more outs there at 50s again. I don't know what's going on here with Apple. Let's look somewhere else. All right, what's going on with Palantir? I mean, you're already on Intel. So, all right, I mean, Palantir up to that 175. That was an area that we cleaned out a little bit yesterday. Just took some profit on that. We're looking to buy it back, right? If the market gets to the downside, I do want to buy back some Palantir. So, but I'm only getting out like 5% of these positions, right? When I talked about getting out of Marvell before earnings, that got it at 10% of that. But just I don't want to sell all the bags down here. So we're going to wait a little bit for Palantir, but a nice move early.
Did what you did.
See, this is, oh yeah, you got in and out of the wrong trade. So 169, what was it, AEO?
No, I went to put an offer on Intel.
Yeah, that's what.
And I put the offer on AEO. It was literally what you just said you did.
Well, you can always just buy it right back.
That's I'm on the bid already.
I just punch out immediately when that happens. But yeah, Palantir, I just wanted to say, like, this is why we try to wait for that first 10 minutes or so, because like, if you like the 170 long, well, it went against you a $1.30. You know, before eventually bouncing back. So you could always take that 170 on the way back, or as it drips now back into 170. Don't be part of like, I mean, this is the number, this is the Microsoft story. So 930's in here, it's just all convoluted and just choppy. But that's the problem that can happen with many of these names early. So I think it's a good time now to wait for these things. But look what's happening to TQQs here. It's the same thing's happening in the Nasdaq. I just look at the TQs and it's just—
well, there's a turn.
It's trying, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It's trying right now to get through VWAP. So we'll see, which way did Intel turn? Down?
Down.
Okay.
Went right to the high.
Market not doing much here.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at, I was looking at Intel. Like, there was a distinct turn at 43.5, so it's going to lose VWAP. Actually, it ends up being good that we got that last fill. So AEO, I did just kind of jump back into it pretty much at just a little bit under the price that I sold it, but that was like an accidental sell on AEO more than anything else. If we close above VWAP, I can reload, but if we cannot close holding the volume-weighted average price here on Intel, then I don't want any part of it. The other thing to keep in mind is Nvidia still will not pick a direction off of 180. Pretty much every candle has transversed 180 one direction or another. And for now, it's still trend down very much. And I think you're still thinking this is going to lead the way. So a distinct break makes the longs look much better, I think, in some of the chip names. Adara, happening now already.
Yeah, happening now.
And also numbers, ISM services PMI here, 52 forecast. Previous was 52.4. That is what we're expecting here. Again, we did get some lower than expected S&P services PMI data, but the ISM data more closely watched, higher than expected. So 52.6 actual versus the forecast of 52. Again, this is the second time this week that we've had lower S&P data, or I guess, sorry, opposite S&P data to ISM data. But again, ISM services PMI higher than expected versus lower than expected S&P data. Let's take a look here at this NASDAQ trying to bounce here. This drop that we had pre-market did happen because the information reported that Microsoft has actually lowered its AI software sales quotas. So some concerns here about sales in that AI and software space. Let's talk here about Marvell. Speaking of AI-related names, initially really strong reaction here, though it's kind of dawdled off the open. They did report a Q3 sales and EPS beat. Some of their forward guidance for fiscal 26 and 27 was quite strong, but their more immediate guidance a little bit more tepid. Let's talk here about AEO. This is another name that reported earnings. We had quite a few earnings day ones plays and watch today. AEO, nice push up here, stronger than expected EPS and sales, and their guidance going forward is a lot better than what analysts were expecting. If you are looking for other earnings names, CrowdStrike, Asana, Dollar Tree, GitLab, and Macy's are among them. Before we send you back to Neil and Sean, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Oragenics, because there are millions of concussions, 0 approved therapies. Oragenics, NYSE, OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Oragenics is positioned to drive what comes next. See what's ahead. Book a meeting today. Make sure to like and subscribe. And it's time for Neil and Sean.
Right, thanks, Adara. And yeah, it's Apple time right now, man. I mean, this has been a good stock, needless to say. So there it goes, right back up to the upside. The number one trade, the number one idea that I had on the sticky note, and I just sat in there and put some real shares in, and just watching it go higher. Like I told you that I would be screwed if it went one way, but thankfully it's going the other way. So there's the Apple long, the number one trade there, and I just posted it up on our board. So yeah, so far so good. That's on the sticky note, of course, and I just reposted it. And there it goes up through to, I mean, we were dip buying this as we were speaking. I mean, this was going against us. We dip bought it into that 287, gave you guys our out. So here we go. We're long this 20 cents worth of a trade. So here's the 5-to-1 right there if you're trading based on things like that. So there it goes. I'll take another piece out. Well, I'm at 280. I'll just take a small piece out here at 05s if we can get it. Did we just get that? No, we did not. We missed the 05s. Okay. So hopefully it'll come back up and give us said 05. But there it goes, man. It's a big trade. It's actually a big trade alert. So there it goes, man. Really happy about that. Like literally a big trade. I'm glad that we told you guys about it. All right, what's up? There's a super chat, Andre. You want to put that up? All right, Box on earnings. Nice move coming from Lowe's. Thoughts on Box? All right, I guess that's Dropbox. Thoughts on Palantir is just absolutely ripping right now. I don't know anything about Box.
No, did not look at Box, but I can tell you there was a program buying off the open, that's for sure.
There you go.
And it's very light volume. 11-cent spread, 1.9 million shares, despite it's already been a half an hour. And yeah, that's what we call a dead cat bounce. All right. I don't know the short float here, but just look at both the 50 and the 200 period moving averages and resistance at that 32.5. So this stock has been telling you where the sellers are, and it basically gapped right into that big sell zone. If it can magically close above 32.5 where it is now, that'd be big. But usually you get to a level like that, I expect at least a little bit of a pullback for Box. 7%, fantastic for them. I know there's a lot of earnings names we didn't even get to.
Yep.
Like I don't even think we mentioned CrowdStrike much outside of. Actually, no, we did. Outside of the upgrades and downgrades, I don't think we mentioned CrowdStrike. But it didn't move, right? So, good look calling up Box. Obviously, that one is actually moving, and that's what you want to look for. So Intel's going to try to break the high of the day again. Remember, this is where it rejected the first time, and then we reloaded off VWAP. So looking for that 43.5, which just keeps on getting close without any cigar. I just moved to 45 from 47 to be able to get the fill. As this continues to go higher, and guess what Nvidia did? Yeah, I wonder what helped us to the upside. Nvidia cracking above that 180. So this looks like Nvidia has made its direction, and it is back into the upside. AEO's pretty much where we were before, but Intel, Nasdaq, everything running, led by Tesla, everybody. Tesla up 3 points and breaking high of the day. Maybe this wants that 450 after all. Some bad wicks on it.
Could easily be there. Yeah, good trading over there.
This 450 is what I'm kind of looking at on the daily chart. The 15 hates me.
All right, nice moves on Intel, nice moves on AEO. So there you go, man. Like Neil going for the earnings plays there with AEO. So nice little look on that one, man. I like that look there. As we talked about it, continuously moving a little bit there. We'll see if it gets to Joe's magical 26er level there or not. Check in on some of these other names, right? Like AMD. So they're, like Neil mentioned there, they are battling back. So some of these names are starting to get going a little bit now. So there goes AMD. Obviously we cashed out of our Apple. I only have now about a third, a little less than a third left. I'm actually going to make that a third right here, offer 77s there, see if we can get that. So this name now trying to come back in a little bit. I'm just going to offer, get down to, I'm less than a third right now. What am I talking about? I'll get down to a quarter if we get that 75 fill. So we'll see if we do get that. I'm hoping for positive reaction there, and we do wind up getting it. So there it is. So nice move higher there. It was actually at 77. So we'll wait to see if we get some more on Apple. Looking, our best fills there, we got actually a couple of them at the high of the day. Remember when I told you guys that my next look, we were trying to get back to the high of the day. So nicely cooking there on Apple, obviously. Palantir continues, oopsies, that's Blue Ocean. We have great amount of markets to trade here at Real Trading. So, oops. That Blue Ocean is not open. There's Palantir 173, so a nice move upside there for PLTR. In all of this spend today, Oracle actually going to the upside. I know it's only up 0.8 right now, but they had a nice move early. And then the big story today, of course, was really gun pointed at Microsoft. And what are you guys up to, Microsoft? Lowering that sales quota there. So the market did not like that early, and it's not really liking it late here, Neil. It's not bouncing at all.
Nope.
Look, if you're going to call $3 a bounce, fine, but it's already down right now about $16 from its 491 spot. So let's call it $15 to the downside. So a bounce of 3, not huge right there, but nice move there. And I want to look at Meta as we look at another mega cap. Up today off of that move, but now just going red right now, coming back in. So on that note, I'm going to take advantage of Apple one more time up here in the 90s. Let's cross out, get another piece out there for Apple. And then we have to go to Adara, but someone just asked about Netflix. So I'm going to look at that real quick. Yeah, wow. Okay, Adara, I know your story is probably not about Netflix. We did talk about it earlier on in the day, but maybe you can get us a reminder of what Netflix is up to, now down 6%. What's up, Adara?
I've seen some people post about Netflix on X, and it does not really seem to be attributed to anyone's story. People are just saying that despite how well Stranger Things Season 5 has been received, there are some concerns here about why are they bidding on Warner Brothers. That's really all I'm seeing, even though apparently according to the analysis I was reading this morning, this actually would be a good look for consumers of both Warner Brothers and Netflix subscription products if they do go through with the deal. But either way, it doesn't sound like investors are super enthused about that possibility. That's what I'm seeing attributed to that weakness, because there was no clear concrete story that seems to be attributed to the drop in Netflix. Let's talk about the market, because I do want to mention some comments being made by U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. He is saying that prices are not likely to be impacted by tariffs unless these tariffs are over 15%, and that he sees GDP above 4% in 2026. So some maybe lofty economic expectations from U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick. Back to you.
I think we just need to announce a deal with Netflix. Like
I want to buy it, is what I'm getting at.
All the speculation is killing it, and I think once you get a deal done and we know what the terms are, it'll be a little bit better. Like, uncertainty is always a problem. Marvell, people were like, oh, they're making a $5 billion acquisition. They said they were not using any debt, and people seem to like that. So that's what you need to hear. But very quickly, I'll go over I've only really traded 2 names. Thank you, GitLab. But AEO just lost VWAP. I jumped out, and oddly enough, I had a stop, but it didn't trigger, so I probably keystroked it and had the wrong stop. Probably looked over, it didn't stop me out, so I punched out manually. I don't mind getting back into this. This is one where as long as it's holding VWAP or trending up, great. But because 22.5 was my dip buy zone, I just don't think I'm not holding this at $1.50 against me. It has to either get down there to my dip buy, do a trend break, or something along those lines. Intel's still holding trend up, so that one's still looking at least pretty good. I'm gonna go for a reload here on Intel off the volume weighted average price if we can get there again. But it barely dropped compared to some of the other names on that Microsoft story. So I think the relative strength is gonna be legit, at least for now. AMD is looking solid. Nvidia is trying to make a little bit of a bounce. If you have some concern, it would be Microsoft, because Microsoft is retesting the lows. Even with the market bouncing, this all started with that quota story for Microsoft, and they are still struggling to get off this little bit here. Nvidia, yes. Microsoft, an absolute no.
Okay, yeah, that Netflix story is interesting to me. Like I was saying, like I want to get into some Netflix. I mean, here's our daily chart doesn't do it justice because it does not take into account the split just as of yet. But there it is right there. So it's broken below the 200, man. You're going to sort of getting that death cross happening right now between the 50 and the 200, whether or not it's a death cross or not, whatever. But that's going to be happening right now. And then, like, maybe I don't want to get involved. You know, like where is this next move? We saw a name like a Palo Alto, and as you just mentioned with Marvell there, whenever you're starting to buy Pfizer, or it wasn't Pfizer, it was MedSera. Did Novo Nordisk wind up getting that, or Pfizer? I think it was Pfizer.
Pfizer won, and it's kind of interesting because Pfizer won basically right after the Novo CEO pressured them, hey, Pfizer, if you want this, then raise your price. They raised the price, they got it.
Right. Okay, yeah, so that was the story. So we could probably see if Pfizer is actually heading, and I know someone just asked us about Pfizer, and I know you looked at it, but you could see here as well that they take, now they're, come on, chart, that MedSera news, I don't know if that was probably middle or early of last week, you know, does create a little bit of a downside push there, or even into these days. But, you know, most of the time, the acquirer goes down because they've taken money away from, you know, their balance sheet, or they're doing debt, or they're issuing stock, or whatever it happens to be for the deal. So I guess that Netflix move, something there. All right, let's see what's going on with Nvidia. And then I actually wanted to just look again, Bitcoin trying to hold out as well. Nvidia is still 181, so potentially going back up. Apple with a nice move higher. I'll get out another piece now as well. And this is what Bitcoin looks like, trying to hold. This is that level, Joe, that we talked about we needed to break through, 93. So it looks like we're trying to do that right now, which is a great little story for us hodlers out there, which I think pretty much everybody is. There's big BTC right now. So it's been a choppy morning for Bitcoin. They didn't move too much on ADP number. This move down was obviously, what time was this? This is right at that Microsoft story, so right at 9 o'clock. They moved down as well, and they almost get it all back, and just giving a little bit up right now. This is a 5-minute chart, so that's a 200-period moving average. I should actually put VWAP on here, which I don't have. But I like Bitcoin trying to hold some of these levels right now. So maybe IBIT could be a good trade. And I know Joe was involved in IBIT earlier.
Because you need VWAP not on RP Pro 8 chart for that. You want it on the 24-hour That's the key.
Yeah, well, when you expand it out.
VWAP is not that big of a deal when you're just looking at IBIT because it's a 24-hour market and you care about volume everywhere. Well, we had Raheem on this morning talking about metals, and just going back over the list, it's like, well, what else is going to be a trade? If I don't see AEO get to my levels again, I got to look over to silver, which was part of the plan. I mean, it fell like everything else, whether it makes sense or not on that Microsoft story, but it's managed to hold a double bottom, no real gap fill to lows at 52.4, but it's got a double bottom here at 52.7, attempting to make a triple bottom. If it does, then there would be a nice little trend break from the open that can come in here as I fight another sneeze. Yeah, so eyeballs now on a little reversion potential trade here on silver. Busting VWAP, but also breaking trend at about 53 or so for SLV. And it was kind of an everything sell-off. Like nothing seemed untouched by that Microsoft story, including the metals. But for now, looking at least a little bit decent. Like it never really, like yeah, it looks bad, but it's not as bad as you think. It didn't really test any big support from yesterday. Still very much holding the top end of yesterday's range. So it's relatively bullish, I would still say. So no reload on Intel yet. Hasn't gotten to the high. Hasn't really bounced off my VWAP bid. And looking at silver to possibly break some trend. Oh, and I was going to mention that CAPR. For everyone that is valiant enough to be trying to trade this stock, which is up 300%, its tap for the latest down halt is $23. So it's halted at 26. New tap is $23. The last down halt actually tanked about $6. So I guess this is not as bad as the last one. Be really careful with this. This one doesn't seem like it's going to be very safe for anybody.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like that was up to 500%.
That stock is jacked up right now.
I should have just gone long right off the open of that. We looked at that; it was at $33, and then it went to whatever it did there, 40 something. On that,
take one halt and you're good.
I know that's what I was saying. Like right out the beginning, I was like, oh, this name's going to halt, and obviously it does do that. What I want to look at also was I went right to Bitcoin, but I wanted to look at sort of at the broader market. It's now 10:14, so why don't we just have a quick look at all the sectors right now? These are the top S&P sectors with electronic technology on this side, of course, and you're going to notice that most of, and this is from TradingView, I believe we're trying to work on one for ourselves here, so we don't have to keep on looking back and forth. Maybe I need to remind Fabian. Well, one day Obi was like, oh, I'll build one of those, so I have to see if he's onto that as well. But there's Microsoft down 2.7, Netflix is down 6.3, so that's the big one here. The financials, though, doing okay, and I was looking yesterday at this name, Berkshire, potentially getting involved for myself as it's been a lagger. If you consider that like an ETF, Berkshire hasn't been, really following the rest of them. So we'll take a look and talk about that maybe in a couple minutes. But JP Morgan kind of flat today. With retail strong, we did get good reports from Black Friday, Cyber Monday and whatnot. MasterCard, AXP, as well as wherever Visa is right here, all to the upside as well. So good moves there today in financials. Oh, I wanted to see just quickly here, healthcare down, producer manufacturing again, some of these names down. I don't think we're worried too much about global recession or anything like that, but I know here in Canada the talk is getting a little spicy about potential recessionary moves by our Fed, which is just central bank. But
I think we're in one.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna have to wait for. Hopefully Neil is wrong, but it doesn't really matter. If you're in one, you're in one. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? You're sort of swimming in it already.
It is.
Yeah, energy up today as well, so that could be signaling as well. Normally when there is recessionary feels, energy can get to the downside, but here in Canada, we're not a huge story for all of that. And then retail HD, I mean, we should be, we don't have any refiners over here. HD 1.2%, Walmart upside as well. Where's my target? Oh yeah. Almost, I was gonna say my target is now $100. I think about $98 target for Target right there as the retail side of things getting a little bit better as well for everybody there. And we did see a good number from AEO today. Neil was all over that one early, still $24. So actually, I'm surprised, man, not that much movement to be honest with you with AEO today. Yes.
Couldn't break the high.
Yeah.
So it's basically bounced and it's still in a bit of a range. I did get that silver here. This is AEO. All it did, it broke VWAP, which got me out the last time, but it's back above VWAP without really taking out this upper trend. So if it can do that, I might jump back into it, but I am now into silver after that trend break, looking for this to bust VWAP. I think if it can close over VWAP, I'll like it a little bit better. And one thing to note about silver, it's done this most days, where it just kind of trends down, and then if you can catch when it makes that curl, which it looks like it's doing now, then you can pretty much hold that for the rest of the day. We did have a super chat, so let's throw that one up there if we can. Microsoft may be an opportunity now, Josu. So appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, first of all.
You can have a look.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Held 475 multiple times, but look at VWAP. Maybe you just need to close over VWAP. Test VWAP, fail. Test VWAP, fail. So like instead of, I don't like guessing that you've made a bottom. Like either you're buying the support level or you're taking it when it's finally breaking out and making the curl. So the support was down here $2 ago, but it's looking much, much better. All the longs are starting to churn here, and not like silver has nothing to do with any of this, but if it dropped on the Microsoft story, then it counts for catching a bid here, whether it made sense or not. The thing I'm actually curious about too is some of those robotics things, whether they're going to get going. But yeah, but Microsoft looking much better, which does make a lot of the market longs look very good. As Intel's at the high of the day, RR is not through VWAP. I really liked this one today, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Rich Tech was
I like Rich Tech the most, but once I saw this at the open, I'm like, yeah, let's let this one settle down.
I'm surprised I'm not in Tesla. You know, I really do focus primarily, and if you want to find the sticky note, you can go get it. I mean, we'll talk about all the stocks right now, obviously on the day, but it's Apple, it's Uber, it's Intel, it's Tesla. So we took Apple pulling back into VWAP there on strength, right? But we should have done the same thing with Tesla. Like this pullback right there. This is pretty much when we started to build our Apple position, but that pullback into I was bidding 433. That went to 430. I'm still bidding 433. I'm bidding 433.05. So I didn't even realize it came that close. Oh, now I'm even more mad. 433.42s we got down to there. The meaning, of course, life, as Neil says. But there, that was, all right. So now I wish I didn't look at it. But anyways, Tesla up 2.5%. And Neil just reminded me of it because he mentioned the robotics story. And I think that that's one that continues to work for Elon and just another lever that can get pulled. And if you're going to get the U.S. government to support all of that, I did buy, you know, averaged up into this. We were long this name so long ago, but it is right here, right now. It is the ARKQ, which is a robotics name, of course. This is the Cathie Wood Robotics and Automation ETF. So I actually bought some today right off the open. So just to let everybody know, that's what I was doing there right off the open. ARKQ, I bought a little bit more. I like the stock. Adara, what you got?
Really quickly, before we get into small caps, I do want to mention lots of talk from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick about chips. He says that they need to train 5 million Americans for these chip jobs. And he's also talking about X-Lite. Now, X-Lite, according to Howard Lutnick, is trying to augment chip manufacturing. Why are they significant? Because X-Lite is a startup that Pat Gelsinger, former CEO of Intel, has some involvement. Now, we know that Intel has gotten a U.S. government investment. X-Lite, as of yesterday, reportedly also receiving money from the government. So keep an eye on INTC here, because that X-Lite story could potentially be of interest. Let's talk about Capricorn, the first small cap of the day. This has been discussed ad nauseum, but I do want to provide some more context for the story. This is a 35% short float, not a particularly small market cap, around $1.5 billion market cap. It's in the Russell 2000, and they actually shared some positive results for the Duchenne muscular dystrophy treatment today. Virax also has a catalyst, and it's bouncing nicely here off of lows. This is a penny stock right now, around 65, almost 70 cents. They announced clinical progress and intention to report clinical data for one of their treatments here in 2026. They do have a 2.8 million share float and a $2.8 million market cap, 3.9 million share float. So pretty small float there for VRAX. And last, but certainly not least, KXIN. No news on this one, like $22 million market cap. So kind of mid-range there in terms of how the small cap goes. Could not find any small news on this, but it has rallied prior. Before we send you back to Neil and Sean for more trading action, guys, I found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges, and I stumbled across BTCC, top 30 globally, but here is the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked. While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC if you are in the US, Canada, or Europe through Trader TV. You get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus a 15% bonus thing that covers losses up to 15K USDT. So seriously, what am I missing? Scan that QR code for more info. Thank you very much to our good friends at BTCC, and thank you to Sean and Neil.
Right, you are welcome, Adara.
Thank you, Adara. Regardless of how that story might affect Intel, I jumped out when it failed the prior high, like right in there. In the same moment, remember I told you I'm watching Nvidia pretty closely. Nvidia got to the open range top and it already turned and pulled back at the moment that I was able to kind of get that top wick. So looking for a VWAP retracement, and if we can hold VWAP throughout the day, then great, we'll continue to go long as long as it holds VWAP. But if we break that, I can jump away from this, understanding that, hey, we haven't really followed through all that much here with NVIDIA yet. Yeah, we're still above 180, which I think is going to be key for sure. Gerard, do you believe in an Intel turnaround story? Yeah, it's just multiple times. So you got to, this is happening, the stock is happening a little faster than I think the fundamentals are overall, but that doesn't really make a difference because we saw the anchored VWAP that was talked about yesterday from Brian Shannon, that long time anchored VWAP that was holding the 19s, and then you had the buy from the U.S. government, the Nvidia story, now the Apple story. So you're getting some serious acceleration, but remember, their build-out in Foundry was not profitable until like 2028. So landing customers is great, and catching up in AI is certainly a part of it. So I think the company is turning around. It's just the relative velocity in the stock price compared to the actual fundamental turnaround is a little bit out of sync, in my opinion. So I've trimmed on the way up, and if it gets to 50 again, I would be a seller of more shares at the $50 level. Because I still think you're a year or two out from this getting a little bit more fundamentally sound in terms of this breakout. And then we have another, breaking news. Sorry, I thought that was a super chat. What's this with regards to?
It's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So I actually hit that.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, I saw the move going there, and I actually bought some there at 11, and it did go to the upside there. So we'll watch out for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I mean, they've been getting beat up on this move back down into $9 there now, trying to go back up to 11 and change right there. Fannie and Freddie, both trying to run. We have about 1150 marker or so on that one. So yeah, there we go. So you never know what kind of stories are coming through. And there's another story there that Trump has really helped. I mean, these were $1. This was a dollar stock back in November when he was elected. So right there, $1.50, 15, 10x. Right, 15 was the high, so there you go, man. We'll see what can happen here with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on a possible IPO. I don't know. That just means they're going to go away from the pink sheets. So maybe we could talk to Jeff about that when he comes on, I think, tomorrow or so. I think he's normally on Thursdays. If he's not too busy, the busiest guy around, he's probably skiing somewhere right now. But there goes Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So only up 3%. So if you like the story, there's a lot more here to go if that's the story that you perhaps like. But thanks, Adara, for posting that up, or whoever did there. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac right now starting to go. But all right, it's 10:25. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about.
Before we take care of a little bit, PayPal is tanking right now. So I've not seen the story. Adara is all over this, looking to see what is going on here with PayPal. I'm checking X. Was that? Shoot, he just said something in my ear. No, that's not PayPal. I just heard another story in my ear. So PayPal down 2 points and continuing to fall here. Adara? One
thing I found, apparently their CFO just said they're seeing weakness in consumer spending. That was 2 minutes ago on X. That's all I'm seeing. If I do get more info, I'll let you know. But again, PYPL reportedly seeing some consumer spending weakness. Back to you.
There you go. So that, thanks.
Dangerous.
That's what you're never trading blind, at least not for long. And you want to make sure, like, you don't want to just jump in there and, oh my goodness, look, it's at $61. Buy the even dollar, buy the dip. That would be a little bit crazy. So unfortunately, not looking too very good for PayPal, which has been true for a hot minute. Every time it bounces, it just cannot get past the next obvious level of resistance. Like, it'll bounce, it'll fail, it'll bounce, it'll fail underneath, it'll bounce, it'll fail underneath without pushing through, unfortunately. But you know what? For too long, everybody, trading is meant risking your own money or just simply not having enough to start out with. That's changing. And it's changing because Trade the Pool is transforming how you can access the markets. The limited risk trading model allows you to use funded capital while Trade the Pool is going to take the downside. So now you can focus on what matters most: discipline, consistency, and growth. And when you hit a profit target, you can keep 70% of your profits. So no fear or barriers, it's just a real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Shout out to Trade the Pool. Thank you to Mitch for coming on. We had him on yesterday. And yeah, just the only trade I'm in is that silver trend break. Let me just, if I save this, then my trend line won't go anywhere. But we just closed above VWAP, so it's looking a little bit better for NAD. This bottoming tail candle was a little bit weird, and then you have a weird topping tail candle there. So I want to see something a little bit more concise. And then we're going to add to this one over VWAP to try to get back to the high of the day, at least. So pretty strong dip in this for reasons unknown on that Microsoft story. But I think we can get back over to the highs. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so PayPal might go on your radar, but I'm going to stay away from that one altogether. And then Intel, I'd mentioned, we got out when it failed that high, almost to VWAP. It's getting close, almost to the volume weighted average price where I would be looking for a reload on INTC. Nasdaq looking pretty good on the bounce. I think the longs are okay, just kind of buying the dips and making sure we take profits on the way up.
All right, guys, just still looking at Fannie Mae, it's pulling back a little bit. I thank everybody for all their feedback in the chat, and just keep it coming, man. I mean, we're trading here live. These are actual, equity here that we're trading. So we got to be very, very careful of some of the, positions we take and monitoring all of this. And like we said, man, Adara with all that news. Like, thank you so much for bringing all of that to us there. All right, so Intel falling back in just a little bit there. The story for me today, I mean, we were able to, and thank you so much to Conservative there in the chat. I saw your note there. It's special and it means a lot to me. But Uber right there, falling back in, man, and we had bought some more there at $86, or I'll double check. I think it was $84 on the way down. And I wasn't planning on getting anything out, but that's a pretty aggressive move. They have a deal there. The story is on our watch list today, and actually shout out to Adara, Sharif for building his note as well. The note today, and actually I'll just hear. You know what? I'm not tired. Why am I reading it instead of showing it to you guys? Here's our watch list. If you're not signed up for it right now, then honestly, man, I don't know what you're doing. This is where I get everything every day. It's not even, I am lazy trader 101. Like, come in here, read this, figure out, like, I immediately saw AEO, study up on it, understand what's going on for the show, know that it's a day one earnings play, so I pass. Same as Marvell, right? But I just go down here and I find a stock that I'm like, you know what? I like Uber. As a stock there, and I wanted to see what the news was on it, and there's the Nebius deal. So both stocks are trading higher in the pre-market. We talked about AvRide there. We talked about this in the pre-market a little bit. Coming into Dallas, EV names, possible move into Robotaxi. So we're going to find out. The rides will initially have a safety specialist on board, but then fully driverless expected to be rolled out later. So it's not just a Tesla story. There's other things happening with other names, and that really got this going. So even if you weren't looking at Uber, you saw that story and you just bought right off the open, this name went from, let's just say you got 89.50 or so. I mean, you could have got 89, you could have got 90. Let's call it in the middle, 89.50. That does move up there, almost $2. Let's call it $1.50 anyways, up into 91. So again, trade the stories, trade the news, and there it goes. Uber now falling back in as the market trying to give it on up. And we just got. I didn't talk about it because I don't want to talk about the same positions over and over and over again here, but we're at 2 times our daily goal right now. It's 10:30. We've traded Fannie Mae and we've traded Apple. So we've made 2 trades. One was news-based, one was just our own sort of studying there, and there it goes. So I'm now not going to let Apple turn too much around. Take another piece out right now. We've already hit some of our goals. You can't get too greedy with these things. It's hard enough. I mean, you can, whatever, I'm green today, we can figure out what everybody else is. It's hard enough to stay green sometimes, and I don't want this to all of a sudden come back in against me here as I'm getting feels now that the Nasdaq, we hovered around VWAP for a minute. The stories are red today, right? We did get a good robotics story, but I don't like that Microsoft talk, and that is starting to head a little bit lower here. So I'm going to piece out even more now. We'll offer, I don't know why I just offered 16s here on Apple, but I don't want this thing to break 287. Want is different than need. It doesn't matter if it breaks. Like we have about 10% left of this trade, so I'm still waiting for that 286.50 to come through, or 286.80. So if it does, it breaks lower, but do not be stubborn with your trades. Long story short, right? Take the profit when the profit is there, have your targets, make sure you get out when they get hit, and make sure you flatten your positions when it goes against you. So we'll still be up 2x, but we do give back about 5% or so on this move for Apple. But a good couple talk there. I'm glad we just discussed risk management, because as I was trading live with you, we just double touched out. So saving us whatever this move is back down to the downside. So there it is, man. We have a small little loss from the top today, but we do give back about 5% on that move. And I'm glad that we talked about it. You're welcome, Majid, and everybody else in there, man. I can't be here for a pretty face. Hopefully it's more for the trading side of things. All right, before we go to Adair, I just talked too much. Anything happening with you before we go back?
Nothing new. I'm actually contemplating whether I do want to reload that Intel, because I said if Nvidia loses 180, I don't want to be chip long. Nvidia is going to lose 180 again, it seems like. So if we're not bouncing there, there's no need to reload some of the long. Sorry, I was just looking at the locator. There's a SPAC opening up today. SBX. There's actually 2 SPACs opening up. And then I'm still in that silver trade. I'm going to get on VWAP now. So this one broke trend. Waited for it to set up. I think yesterday was just a little bit too early in trying to buy the dip and a little bit overzealous. I actually allowed this to make a distinct bottom, kind of a double bottom yesterday. It's certainly a double bottom in here with a higher low. So jumped into that one when it broke trend to give myself an entry point. And then we can head back into the upside. If we get to the high, fantastic. Let's go to the desk. I believe Adaira's been waiting for us for a bit, patiently.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, now I guess it's kind of a moot point, but I just wanted to clarify with PayPal, the story is what I saw on X. I'm seeing it circulate more heavily now. Basically, the CFO of the company told this UBS tech conference that they are still seeing the consumers trade down, the average order values are lower, and the Q4 branded checkout growth is running a couple points slower than what they were seeing in Q3. Now, this also kind of mirrors comments that we had from XYZ yesterday on Square. So interesting theme now, 2 days in a row, we have kind of negative comments from these fintech companies about how they're expecting Q4 to shape up. Back to you.
Okay, well, I had Adair in my ear, but there's just a headline here. Microsoft has responded to the information report, which apparently was wrong, did not lower sales quotas. This according to comments on CNBC. So attributing to this to CNBC, Microsoft responds to the information report, which apparently was wrong. They did not lower sales quotas, sorry. I mean, yeah, who knew? You trade based on the news that you're given, right? I think if we all knew that a couple of minutes ago, we'd have all been long. I was just telling you how Nvidia was losing 180. It's right as it's pulling back into like seriously, that story comes out exactly when Nvidia is pulling into key support and breaking it. Of course it did. Adaira? Of course.
Yeah, so just to be clear, Microsoft themselves did not say the story was wrong. That was kind of how certain people were putting it on X. What they actually said was that they have not lowered their sales targets, according to CNBC. So I just want to clarify the wording of that. The actual story here is that Microsoft has not lowered their sales targets as reported by CNBC. They are denying the report from the information, but they're not out and out saying that it's incorrect. I just want to clarify the wording on that. Again, they have not lowered those sales quotas or targets according to them and reported by CNBC. Back to you.
Okay, so good news. We're saved. But no, here's Apple. So I just want to quickly look at that. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's going to look bad. But our stop was the same as many others, I guess, as there was some increased volume there, breaking through 287. We waited for 286.80. That was that little look right there. We gave it a little bit more. Well, actually, that look was really 290, 286.90. We gave it to 80. So it does push down that extra 10 cents. But the thing about it is, I'm completely cool with it. Like when we're winning on this, our last 10% is completely fine to have that happen, and sometimes that is what's going to happen. So we did get stopped out there, potentially at the lows. So there we go. Bye-bye, Apple. But here it comes right back in again, right? So I'm not going to cry over that spilled milk. Good story there, and you can see what Nvidia is doing, right? Right back up to that 50-period, the 200-period moving average on your 1-minute chart. More likely than not a short at those levels. So I'd rather not short NVIDIA, I'd rather short AMD right now, but that is broken back above. So we talked about like this back and forth story here with Microsoft and the sales and this and that, and and I was like, maybe, and I said that before, maybe they're just incentivizing potentially their sales staff, which they may not need to do, obviously, if things are going gangbusters. So I do understand that that might be a problem. But, switching sales targets, I don't know if they hired more sales guys and maybe, them hitting targets are just harder because there's more members on their team. Like, I have no idea what that means, but the market did sort of shoot first and ask questions later. And then when the questions were asked, Microsoft came up with an answer that the market liked. So right now it's very dangerous, a little bit of a slippery slope for sure, to start looking at some of these names right this second. But we will do it, and I'm going to be back. I'm definitely not away from trading that right now. Marvell, though, does get back up to $100 right there. That's where VWAP is, day one trading. I said yesterday, this is the sort of the backbone, or I forget the term I use. I used that GPUs were kind of the brain and everything, and then this was sort of the parts. And Marvell, if there is a slowdown, going to get hit, but they're up 7.5%. Nice day there today for sure for good old Marvell. We like that stock a lot coming through. Another stock that I like, that I don't know if Joe's hitting the bang, 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 bang right now, because IBIT was really cruising early, good spot, but now it's flat. So let's wait on IBIT again. Good bottom there at $52. I really like that $52 level there on IBIT, so we'll have to wait to see if that can make moves there. $52 on IBIT. Andre in my ear says we have a super chat, so I am ha 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 Jusu94. Mwahaha.
Awesome.
All right, man. Yeah, you did tell us about Microsoft. We love reading the chat. So I want to thank everybody for all of their ideas in there. And honestly, this is why you have to become a subscriber. Get into the chat. You know, because if Neil and I took every single person's advice on here, we'd get about 100 of those super chats a day, because there's always someone recommending something in here. You know, Mike Peter Ryder is the guy in the chat, so shout out to you as well. But there are lots of ideas that float around in here, so I just want to remind everybody that if you are interested in a name, definitely. I don't want this to sound like fishing for super chats, because it's not. It's just when there is one, it triggers, and then we can get it up for you. So like if there is a trade idea that you really would like us to focus on, or an idea, just even a small amount, and it doesn't do anything, trust me, like the amount, we just appreciate it. It just draws the attention to the super chat. So I do want to make sure that you guys understand that, and we want to thank everybody for their continued and your continued support of the show. The one name that like O'Leary doesn't like, and it doesn't matter what Kevin O'Leary likes. I mean, that guy, we talked about, he likes watches, but he had some really good points. And of course it matters what he likes, it matters what all of us like, but at the end of the day, you're monitoring your own portfolios is what I'm getting at. So he didn't like China, and he talked about some of the risks there. This guy's been on Capitol Hill. He knows, I don't know, I think he has a little bit of a pulse there on Washington. He's talked about crypto, and I know he's been in front of the Senate for crypto and things like that as well. And no matter what you think of the guy, I get it, but some of the worries on Alibaba in China are legit. So I don't want to buy any more of Alibaba. I did buy some at 160. That was, we bought some 160s. We bought Boeing at 200, and we bought Uber down there as well. But Baba might have been the questionable buy out of all of those. They do have the risk associated with them. And today, when we have Jensen and CEO Jensen Huang of Nvidia speaking on Capitol Hill, trying to promote his products, if those get sort of dripped into China, that does have an effect on Alibaba and how they flow moving forward. So a little bit of a dangerous call there with Alibaba. I understand that. But look what the call that we made when Neil, we both went and got some waters, but right there, it's Nvidia off of that 200 period. We just said we could have shorted that. So that would have given you 50 cents. I think I would almost take that, pulling it right back there into support. So if someone took my advice on that, congratulations, it's 50, it's 60 cents there. I didn't do it. But it's pulling back where I think that, you know, if you're waiting for 181, fine, that's VWAP. But this is a good move back in right there. And then the other name that is on the radar today that I've already called new all-time highs next week, I called that yesterday, on Tesla. So 480, I think, it hits very, very soon. And we only got that robotics news today. So I love Tesla up here. Now, I said, like, what's going to happen if Tesla's up 5%? Then you're getting close to these levels again. So Tesla continues to work its magic back up to that 480. I think it's just imminent now that we get that, and then you can make your decisions there on Tesla. Tesla, the most under-owned, basically big cap stock in my portfolio is TSLA. Probably own like 25% of my Google or Apple, like value-wise, is in Tesla, which I think is right. I think Tesla's a little more volatile than those names.
Yeah, I would.
I'm fine with that, but
I'd make that argument too, but like
we have one friend that's like 90% in Tesla.
Oh well, I've had conversations with him.
Yeah.
But Tesla for me it's only behind Nvidia, Google, and Apple. I actually own more Tesla. One of the reasons why
I like Tesla.
I have recent buys in Amazon and Meta was just okay. Well, let's get more of those.
Yeah.
And a little bit. I'm not selling it. I wasn't really selling any Tesla either.
Maybe more Meta today.
But I did have some conversations with that one friend. I was just like why? Like I love Tesla too, but why would you be absolutely all in? I'm like, you gotta you buy some Qs. So, anyways,
he got into Marvell, so.
Well, because we asked about that too. It was at 440 or so. It was at 220. I'm like, I'm long. I bought back at the 220, but that was like a trade. They take some out at 440. Like, why would you not? It was a double up from the April lows. But before we go back, I thought I heard maybe Adara, but I did get out of silver near that high. So there's where, like, if I start the trend break there is a trend break. It actually offered VWAP because it's pretty tight to VWAP, so I allowed it to travel a bit, and then just got out in front of the high. It ends up being the top wick. It's just whatever. My offer was there. 53.3 is where it got to, and I was just sitting at 29. Shout out to Jesse Barfield. So I'm going to look for either VWAP retracement for another buy, or maybe something else will set up. Like maybe you get this, where like you get a close above the top end of this trend line. So just continuing to look at silver. Intel, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if Intel's going to get to VWAP either, but it's getting pretty close to it for another reload there. Let's go back to Adara.
It's time for Sector Watch. Let's take a look at this board. It's actually pretty green, guys. Finance really strong, health tech mostly strong. Consumer durables doing well, led to the upside, of course, by TSLA. Now, be aware, Trump is set to make an announcement at 2:30 p.m. Some people are reporting that we're expecting an announcement from the White House today related to fuel, so keep an eye on these names around then. I'm not sure yet if that is what the announcement's going to be, but this report do suggest maybe keep an eye on these cars around, these auto stocks around 2:30 p.m. Health services doing pretty well, mostly led here by UNH. Transportation strong. Uber, as mentioned earlier, to the upside with that Nebius story. Energy minerals to the upside. Let's talk about electronic tech. Because that one's relatively flat, but the tech services sector a bit more interesting. Google up about 1% here, Oracle up about 1%, getting a positive rating from Wells Fargo. But MSFT to the downside, trying to recover here after the information reported that the company's actually lowered its AI sales quota. Microsoft said they actually have not lowered that quota. So if I get more info, I'll keep you guys posted on that. Netflix also weak as traders assess a potential deal here with Warner Brothers. Make sure to like and subscribe. And back to Neil and Sean.
This is, I mean, remember when we got out of Apple and it went back to the upside like 40, 50 cents, and it was like, oh man, like that last 10%, you know? But what it does is it gets you a new look on life. And we didn't do anything since then, but it's just like, by getting out, then I'm already out and I'm not rethinking of like, okay, where's the next long in this name or whatever. I can end the trade and just be done with it, you know, instead of like maybe saying, oh, well, there's the move up and let's try 287 again, you know, because I might have done that. Like if I had held this and not got out and it went back up into this area, I would have thought, okay, you know, we were right about our hold spot. It didn't fill and it ripped back up. So that I might have actually layered back into this off of those levels. So you never know what you're gonna do as a trader, but if you stick with some kind of rules, and that's what we said when this happened, it was like, okay, I'm out of it. We can sort of, damn long lashes are a blessing and a curse at the same time. But this move back in here, good. We are now out of it right now. So AMD CEO, right now, just getting this chat, of course, Lisa Su, I'm not sure, I guess speaking at a conference right now, says commodities like memory have become tighter. I don't know if she was talking with my 13-year-old kid here or not, but there goes AMD, she's talking, so here goes AMD. And again, memory, you know, my memory is, I remember talking about RAM with Micron. And so if that commodity is becoming tighter, you know, it goes back to Neil's discussion about economics and supply and demand. So if supply is getting a little tighter and demand doesn't seem to be going anywhere, then maybe Micron does have more upside. So watch out for Micron today, right now, and we'll see what's going on there. And again, if there's a tighter or if there's a shortage in that, then that does potentially lower I don't know, I'm just trying to think about other names, other things here. It could lower sort of expectation of deliveries, because if you can't get the RAM, then maybe that stops you from putting these stacks together. And I don't know what that means for the broader market. Those of you that are smarter than I maybe do. But we're going to go to Adara for a quick little story here. Super chat. Super chat. Okay. What's up, Andre? Yes. You're right, Corey. That's, I mean, we talked about this yesterday and even last week. But by when? I said next week. So mid-December, if you want my thoughts. Honestly, I think you're just one story away from, and you got a story today with the robotics. So tomorrow you'll get Tesla upgrades, I would imagine.
Robotics stocks just broke out too.
Yeah, and I like the story. And so again, it takes a couple upgrades. And look, for me to say that this is going to go there next week, obviously it's a very, very aggressive call to say Tesla's going to go up 10% in a week. All right, but I don't think it's impossible, and I'll stick my neck out and say that. I don't have a problem doing that, and that's just where I think it's going. And will I be a seller up there? No, I will not. I want to be Tesla for long term, and I just told you probably underweight on that name anyways. So that's my prediction for Tesla. Like, I know that we made some predictions, on Bitcoin or whatever. Everything's different. The market now is starting to get back up to the upside right now. So you are seeing Bitcoin start to go, and I just really like Tesla for that fact. And I got involved in this at 109. I think my fill was 109.26 this morning. Early, maybe even better than that. I just put a market on buy order basically off the open. So I think this is probably, you can probably figure out how many shares I got. There's not too many fills on ARKQ this morning. This is the ARC Robotic, and they own, and I looked this up on Gemini right here today, and this is why I didn't want to, I said I didn't vet it, so I didn't, but I just did based on the available portfolio data as of now. Here are the top 10 holdings. So I did this in the pre-market before I went in there and bought ARKQ, and I actually put in a decent amount there. It's Tesla, it's Teradyne, it's Kratos, so another defense name. Your boy just got longer on Palantir this morning and didn't even know it. Well, I knew it after I read this, but there's Palantir. And remember, I read this before I bought it. There's Rock. Like, I don't own any of these names. I don't own Trimble. I don't even know what it is. Deere, Archer, I don't own. I don't own Rocket Lab. I own a very, very small amount of AMD. We sold that at 256. AeroVironment, don't own that. Own a shit ton of Palantir and own not enough Tesla. So this got me into there, and really, really nice call, I'm hoping, on that robotics name. So there it is, man. We got some ARKQ in our account this morning. So hopefully that can continue to work. And look, not financial advice. We are not financial planners or registered or anything like that, but this is what I bought, and it's only up about 1% since I did it, so you can get involved here if you do like the name. All right, I was a little early on the call there for Miss A, but now we make up for it at 10:50 with Money Talks.
Let's take a look at this US dollar, which is really testing that support level around 99 that I mentioned yesterday. We tested it Monday. Today we're testing it yet again. Let's see how this US dollar fares, and let's talk about economic data. At 10 a.m., we got higher than expected ISM services PMI, 9:45 a.m., lower than expected S&P services PMI, so kind of an interesting conundrum there. But let's talk about some of these bigger numbers. 8:15 a.m., we get non-farm employment change. That's going to be a lot lower than expected, negative 32,000 versus positive 5,000 expected. U.S. import and export prices for the month of September, both 0% versus 0.1% expected. That's for both of those metrics. Now, as you might expect, suggestions that employment is a little bit weaker does end up benefiting these odds for a rate cut. That's right. Now, 89% of participants expecting that 25 basis point rate cut in December, only 11% expecting a hold. As we've talked about quite a lot, especially as of late, one of the biggest things that the market is watching out for and that Fed speakers have mentioned is employment weakness. As we continue to see more signs of a weakening labor market, the chances of that rate cut are just going to keep ticking higher. Make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. I saw a lot of people were talking about iRobot. I said I like RR, but it needs to get above VWAP. It finally did. It only took till 10:45 for it to break the volume-weighted average price, and now bouncing. So I scalped some out because opening range support, well, from the point of the story that hit at about 8 o'clock, support was at 380 or so. So as long as it holds under, or 385, I should say. As long as it held above, beneath there, it's a scalp from 75 to 85, a breakout looking for 90s, and then 4 evens on RR, as iRobot also, like all the robotics names starting to go. That just topped out at $3 and starting to pull back. So it feels like the story that got forgotten, because it seemed like maybe that was going to be the thing that drove a lot of the action today that wasn't earnings based, was going to be that robotics headline. And unfortunately, there was that Microsoft, what we're calling, because now the reversal, because they're saying they didn't lower their quotas, right? So Microsoft actually pulling back here off of that story. Like to see where it can form a base. If this was the cause of the turnaround, or at least some of this turnaround, then you want to see where it bases out. For now, it's trying 481, but you can wait till VWAP or maybe the 480 just to be a little bit more patient. It's almost 11 o'clock at this point, so you don't need to rush into anything. Someone asked me about silver. Well, the thing about VWAP is it's a line in a chart. Doesn't have to be where the stock bounces. Yeah, this just did a weird turn here on silver and lost VWAP altogether. So I'll wait for it to set something up a little bit more clean if I'm going to get back into that long trade. Just waited for a trend break and got in when we got it. And I see Eric Bach still asking about CAPR.
Yeah, what has that been doing lately?
All right, so it's caught a bit. There you go. And it's not halting every 2 minutes either. So that's usually a positive when it stops the nonsensical halting and opening back up for a minute or two and then halting again. So it shows you there's at least some semblance of normality. Bouncing about $5 here. I'd watch out for it. Forget about VWAP, even though it is VWAP. But on that halt down where it gapped like $5 or $6, it resisted 29 to 30. So one would think that that could be a big spot. It also happens to be the volume weighted average price. Now, I'm not touching this stock. The volume's way better now at 24 million. Just an incredibly dangerous name to be involved in, unless it's your cup of tea. Like if you're all about these old stocks, then this is the perfect stock for you. As we go to Adara, we have breaking news on, is it Ford?
Keep an eye here on CEO of the company, Jim Farley, saying that he's going to be meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump and U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy today. So again, Ford here pushing higher on that commentary from Jim Farley. Back to you.
Okay, I mean, meeting with Trump is, whatever. We'll figure that all out. I mean, we saw the number yesterday that Ford is just getting crushed in the EV space, like crushed. So I don't know what exactly they are, bless you, that they're going to be doing. We talked about iRobot. I mean, I saw in the chat, what's up to Jeff or whoever that was there in the chat. I responded to you there. It was just like, we called this up right when this happened and in the pre-market, and it was at $2, like right when we went on air. It was at 205. And I remember we talked about iRobot, and I was like, yeah, like this was a failed buyout by Amazon, was never allowed. The stock's been getting crushed. There's a very, very good short float on IRBT. So yeah, it's continuing going a little bit higher here. Needless to say, iRobot, but I did IRBT. Let's just check out, excuse me, what the short float is. I thought it was in the 40s. Like I thought it was ridiculous. Yeah, wow. Don't tell my wife, but sometimes my memory is pretty good. 45% short rate there. So, okay. Yeah, should have just punched long and held that. We did it yesterday with VCIG and it came all the way back in, but today is like a real story. It's not company specific at all. This is industry specific. So there goes the robot names today. Neil talked about Rich Tech,
there's others too, like, we keep forgetting
Robotics, but we're not going to forget about. I didn't even call it up yet, man. Maybe I hit this a little bit too early. All right, let me get the menu up for you guys right away. All right, here it is. Yeah, this morning's lunch was peanut butter and bread.
It's just not a breakfast, man. Like you don't. It's also.
It was more about the 7 fails, but
you
know, it was okay.
Once.
It's okay. Was Sharif impressed with that or not? We don't know, but no, I agree. I even actually talked with some of the TSRs back there, and they're like, "What the hell?"
It's like a brick when it gets here too. Like it's all.
Well, yeah, it's the thing. Like if you're like, I think the bread is toasted, so it gets hard. Like it's not like it's fresh bread.
It doesn't transport well.
Anyways,
it doesn't matter.
All right, whatever, man. Beggars shouldn't be choosers. All right, so we had Monday's flag was Japanese, and then yesterday's flag was Russian with the beef stroganoff, and today's flag is Thai. That's always good. We love some Thai food around here, and they actually do it pretty good. Today is, I don't think we've had this in a while, Thai chicken curry. That's good, man. I don't remember the last time we had that with stir-fried veg, jasmine rice, and mixed greens. Thai chicken curry. So that should be pretty good. We had sort of a homemade soup, tomato bisque last night, which was good. So we had some of that. And oh, my wife from Longo's, she was, because we were, as I said, man, I didn't even see her till 9 o'clock or 8:45 last night. And we ate late. Like, that's when we ate. When we got home from, because we got home from swimming. My kid had 7:30 to 8:30, and my daughter had hockey from 5 to 6, then volleyball from 6 to 8. So we like to eat together. So it's a small, quick little dinner. And then she got a pizza that was a burrata pizza there from Longo's, so just one that you shoved in the oven. So that was really good. But Thai chicken curry, I think, will be pretty good there today. So that's what's for lunch and should be a good one with only 2 minutes to go.
Your dinner beat ours yesterday. We went stupid simple because it was yesterday was Tuesday.
Pizza
it was
and
guides.
super simple.
It was guides yesterday, which we don't have a lot of time for a turnaround. We literally had hot dog. This was a staple for me in university, by the way. It was maple baked beans, hot dogs into like these octopuses my wife does. And literally, like, we had some fresh bread from the week.
Yeah, the spider
that we rocked that. The spider, she calls it the octopus.
Yeah,
I don't do that when I make it. I'm not that fancy, but that's how we roll. Sometimes there's just not enough time. We're like,
I find like hot dogs, I can't really. I like them. It's just like upsets my stomach.
I will 100% prefer sausage to hot dog 10 times out of 10. My daughter, however, is not on that train.
Oh,
like
no, the kids.
Like, she doesn't like a proper Italian sausage.
Better.
She likes the hot dog, and I'm like, whatever. We end up doing whatever she wants. Well, you said Marvell's tanking. The only thing I'm looking at right now is can we hold VWAP for reload on RR? But we didn't talk enough about the earnings names. Apologies to that. Like, obviously, you don't know where the morning is going to take you. So to say that we didn't expect the Microsoft story, that we didn't know the Robotics story was going to hit, that's just truth, right? Like, nobody knew that. Marvell's filling a little bit of the gap in, as we can see here. Is it at yesterday's? Nope. So 94 would be yesterday's highs. That would be filling in the gap, getting all the way to 94. So it's filled in a decent portion of the gap. And then the earnings name that we really, really didn't talk about, CrowdStrike, V-shaped recovery, because that's what they do. I guess we'll talk. I guess it's the valuation every single time as to why you can have a pretty clean report on pretty much every cybersecurity name, and then they end up going down because it's a very expensive. But it's always been an expensive space in the PE basis, and that hasn't mattered for a very long time. Usually, you just buy the dip on earnings. It didn't dip enough. I will be canceling. I remember I said I need to even this one out with Palo Alto. The plan of action was to dip buy after earnings, but stink bidding at the 200 period moving average is not going to have got me filled today. So I give it the old 2 or 3 day rule, and if I have to even things up by buying 500 instead, then that's what I'll do. Probably should never have trimmed this one anyways. And the irony being, if I buy back at 500, this is kind of where I trimmed in July anyways.
So Marvell, yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to get some more Palo Alto and maybe buy some more cybersecurity names. Marvell right now, it's 11 o'clock, we're going to get out of here. Marvell dropping off 100 real easy there. I don't know, like, but that VWAP, and again, whenever there's a gap play to VWAP, I mean, boom, shout out to Brian Shannon there. All right, good show today. Thanks, Adara, Brendo, Raheem.